Hello, everybody.
Hi, everyone. Surprise, we cut our countdown short
Welcome. Yeah, booyah.
after expanding it. Oh, wait, I'm not muted. Not muted. Sorry.
Happy to have you guys. Welcome.
Hi, everyone.
Yeah, we were a little slow moving with people coming into chat today, so we held off for a little bit to give time for people to filter in.
Yeah.
But it looks like there's a couple folks
Yeah.
that are hanging out, so as long as we're not just sitting here talking to ourselves completely, then we'll give it a go.
It's true. Which we do all the time.
We do. I mean, we could just, me and you, just sit and talk forever.
It's true.
But it's
We
nice
do that.
to have
We got
people-
married just to do that.
We did. We totally did. Haha.
We took steps to make sure that happens.
It's true. So we could definitely do that, but we didn't want to show a bunch of the cool stuff that we got going on before more folks came in. So we were looking out for you guys. Yeah.
Final countdown. It's the
yeah.
final countdown.
Beep beep beep. Beep 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 beep.
Rock and roll. That's rock
It's
and
good
roll
stuff.
right there.
It is. It fucking is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah. So it's going to be an interesting episode that we're gonna do tonight. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna
Agree
talk
with that.
about how different that we all are. We are all human beings, but we are all so inherently different. Some of it is genetics that get passed down. Some of it is anomalies that we don't even know why it's happening.
True.
There's physical traits that are different. There's our perception, the way that we perceive our five senses that are unique and different. So I think it's interesting because if we all acknowledged how different that we are from each other, I think we would have a little more patience when dealing with each other sometimes, because people are not going to think the way that you think, and they're not going to taste things the same way that you taste things, and they're not going to perceive reality in the same way.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes it hard when people are like, why do you not just see it like this? Because they don't see it like that. That's just, everybody sees things differently.
Yeah.
So that's some of the things we're going to talk about tonight.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be good.
Everybody sees things differently. I learned today that Ray Charles, is it Ray Charles? Yeah, Ray Charles actually sees the music in his head. Even though he's blind, he has a visual representation of the music.
That's amazing. So a form of synesthesia.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So even though his eyeballs don't work, his third eye did.
Yeah.
I guess.
Oh,
Third
thank
eyeball.
goodness. Can you imagine? Oh, it would be extra shitty for someone like you to go blind because you don't have
Just got nothing.
pictures in there. Yeah, that'd be fucking rough. But that's very cool that he sees
Yeah.
that. So yeah, that's a really cool thing. I want to have my friend on for an interview one time who has synesthesia, which is great. So we'll talk about that later as well.
Yes.
And it'll be good. But for right now, I think we will start with a video that is talking about rare body features that only 1% of people have. So this is some weird anomalous physical traits that a very small percentage of the population actually has.
Yeah.
So let's learn about that, and then we'll go from there. What do you say?
That sounds good.
High five.
Yeah. We'll start with an intro video.
Let's do it. Okay.
All bodies are different. We are all unique. But some bodies are even more unique than any other, as you will soon see. These are 20 rare features some unique people have.
Hairy palms.
Number 20, vestigial tail. Our bodies are weird for the most part. Losing an organ or a limb will have a pretty drastic impact on the rest of our body,
So
but
weird.
if you remove something like an appendix, pretty much no after effect. That, in a nutshell, sums up human vestigiality. This unsettling phrase describes the parts of our body that seem to serve no purpose in the modern world. At one point, of course, our ancestors likely needed things like the appendix. I'm not sure exactly what they needed it for,
It was
but
wiggling,
then
dude.
When it was
we We
scary.
once needed phone books, so I guess times just change, right? Most of these organs have since lost most of their
Oh, it's
original
illegal.
function, becoming what some like to call junk organs. An example of a junk organ can be seen in this boy's unusual condition. Yes, my friends, he has a tail. Your anime dreams have come true. The boy's tail isn't really functional, as is the case with just about every vestigial organ on the planet, which means that even the most well-trained medical experts on Earth have absolutely no idea why this happens, just as they don't fully understand the purpose of vestigial organs in general. It's almost as if our bodies are just hoarding organs and refusing to let go. It's a
What's
biological
vestigial mean?
version of storage wars. Like this
thought it
video, smash
just
the
pertained to
subscribe
a
button
tail.
and click the notification bell right now, or this centipede will crawl on your face when you're sleeping.
Oh, that's terrible. Click subscribe immediately.
Now it's time for the juicy topic. Let's chat about Edward Mordrake. He's a rather unique fella. Why? Because he has two faces. No, that's a rare body feature only 1% of people have. He was a young man
Not
born
even
from a
1%.
noble English family,
Less than 1%.
famed for being
Yeah.
clever and charming. People even called him handsome
And that's a
when
fake
looking at
face.
him from the front. But then, on the back of his head, there was an unexpected second face. Mordrake would claim the face would whisper things to him, which drove him to take his own life. If all this sounds familiar, it's because a fictionalized version of his life was used in 2 episodes of American Horror Story. As always, comment down below with the hashtag #JuicyTopic and let us know your opinion in relation to what we just showed on
And
screen.
there's a Tom Waits song.
Number 19,
Oh, dear.
Morton's Toe. I try not to overwhelm our viewers with too much scientific or medical mumbo-jumbo, but I will tell you that there's no real way to avoid it with this one. So if you don't understand what the second metatarsophalangeal joint is, actually you'll be okay. That's just a fancy way to refer to the second toe. You can call it, like I do, the second toe. The Morton's toe is
That's a good name.
basically what appears to be an extra long second toe.
have that.
It happens when the first metatarsal, that's the bone in your big toe, is short compared to the second. But while it may seem like the condition describes a long second toe, that's not necessarily the case. In fact, it's just a fancy way of saying the bone in the second toe is larger than the first. I know those two things sound exactly the same, but I've checked with 3 doctors and they all insist that we specify that the condition is not a long toe, but toe bones of different lengths. Regardless of the wording, it's something that many of us have, affecting about 15% of the population. It doesn't mean you're weird if you do have it, and you probably won't experience any pain from it. If anything, it just makes you even more special and unique. And
it's
doesn't
1%
everybody want to
of the
feel like that from
population,
time to time?
Less than one?
Number
Really?
18.
And I have that one too?
And
Weird.
howdy. Here's one
weird.
that a good chunk of you will be able to relate to, the famous Audi belly button. What is it? How does it come about? And are you special for having one? All excellent questions, and we're going to answer all of them. Maybe. No promises.
No.
In case you don't know, your belly button is a reminder of the location that once connected you to your mom.
Ew, weird.
It's
Why
a
would
little
you
like how
poking
your
it?
USB
Right, let's-
links your computer,
do all
only your USB was an umbilical cord in this situation. When the umbilical cord is cut, you have a small piece left over called the umbilical stump. A couple of weeks later, that will fall off, and what's left behind is your belly button. So I guess a good way to think of it is that your belly button is a scar, and that innie/outie nature
Jesus.
depends entirely on how your skin heals. So, no, there is nobody to blame for whether you have an innie or an outie. Both are beautiful, neither are bad,
And
and
blame
you
the
are
doctor.
indeed
That's
a
spiral's
very
fun.
special human, and we're lucky to have you with us. Because ultimately, it's just another thing that connects us all. We're all humans with scars on our abdomens, and we don't ever really think about it. Wild, huh?
Whoa.
Number 17.
Everyone fingering their belly
Heterochromia.
button's kind of gross.
Yeah, it's kinda
David
weird,
Bowie
dude.
was well known for a whole bunch of
Wouldn't mind
things.
that.
He was, after all, a genius rock star and songwriter. But one of the things that he's perhaps most well known for today is the most unique aesthetic abnormality, heterochromia, also known as the multicolored eyes. Heterochromia is the medical terminology for a condition that sees eyes having more than one color. Like most conditions, it's simply the result of a quirky genetic mutation and doesn't really have any major
I don't think
effects.
she has
In very
heterochromia.
rare cases, it can be a symptom of a more severe medical condition,
Really?
but
Oh, wait,
this
because
is
he
pretty
got
much
injured in the
unlikely
eye and
most
it
of
made
the
it look
time.
darker.
For the most part, it doesn't cause any problems.
I mean, that's
Of
still
course, it
heterochromia,
doesn't
right?
hurt
Just a
that
different
it's
color.
such a rare condition.
No, it's that would be a optical illusion if the pupil's bigger.
It's
and
more
doesn't
common in animals actually than
shrink
humans.
down.
In total, it only seems to
No, I
affect
think
less
his
than
eyes are different
200,000 people in the United States alone. Still, those of you who have heterochromia can say that you share a unique condition with
No.
many animals
Hold
all over the world, which is
No. So I knew this about Bowie, and I even just Googled it to be sure. And I am correct.
Huh.
So one pupil is larger than the other, which makes it appear darker. Heterochromia is the actual color of your eye is different.
So the color of his eyes are not different.
Correct.
Okay.
But it seemed to
Man,
affect
those
it.
look
That
completely
looks
different.
that looks different. But yeah, it says no, it appears to be a myth that he has heterochromia, meaning his eyes are two completely different colors. What he actually suffered is anoscoria, namely that one pupil is bigger than the other.
Yeah.
So his pupil is weird, and he got injured when he was a kid, and it just never went back. So it said his friend's fingernail scratched the surface of his eye when they had a fight, paralyzing the muscles that contract the iris.
Oh, weird. No way.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that's weird.
So I find it interesting that they.
Yeah, I always thought he had two different colored eyes. Anyway. Okay.
So it said. Yeah, it was a deep corneal abrasion that paralyzed his iris sphincter muscle.
Okay. Interesting.
There we go.
Okay.
Okay, cool.
Debunked.
I just
Hold
wanted
on.
to- Okay.
Getting into chat real quick. First of all, Princess, your dad didn't have a belly button? Like,
Oh, I didn't even see chat. All these people in chat. Oh my god.
like,
Well, your dad didn't have what?
because that makes me think my mom got a tummy tuck and they actually removed the portion that had her belly button. And her being my mom asked if they would just leave it without a belly button, and they said no. So they put a belly button back on, and so it's not her belly button that she has, it's actually a fake belly button. So how did your dad not have a belly button? Was he a tube baby? Ooh, weird. Also, hello, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Hope you're feeling okay.
Oh, little Kirby's not feeling so good
Sorry you got sick.
today. She's got the Rona.
Oh no, not the Rona.
No.
Yeah, I
Well,
hope you feel okay.
I'm glad that you can
Thanks for coming in.
hang out here with us. Even though you don't feel good, you get some entertainment. Or
That's
at
true.
least entertaining you.
Laughter is the best medicine, they say. And also, Slim Tony, I found a mushroom in my belly button. You, you found a mushroom in your belly button? Well, you're probably gonna have to shower once or twice. Was it just dark and moist and you grew a little mushroom? Or, like, did you eat it? Did you fry it
Now
up?
I'm curious.
What kind of mushroom? That one was Isis. She just came down to hear me out. We keep hearing noises in the kitchen.
There's noises.
We don't know what's going on in there.
There's spooky noises.
But that one had to be Isis because she came down here and yelled at us and then wandered away.
And Jedi's sleeping.
Everybody else is in here with us.
So there's I don't know. Is
I
it
don't know what's
ghosty
going on.
stuff? I was just talking with Shane about ghosty stuff. And now there's like bumps in
Maybe.
the night.
As long as it's being calm. Calm down.
It's not being calm. It's making all these noises. It sounds like someone's in the house or someone's trying to get in the door.
It sounds like Jedi jumping on the counter,
there's
but
not.
he's right here. I don't know.
I don't know. It was spooking us out before when we had the countdown on. We were like investigating, like what the fuck is going on. And we
Yeah.
have-
I wouldn't look out front.
No.
I don't know. I think the neighbors are doing something. I do
Maybe
have
the
the front
neighbors
door
are
open
doing
up there, so I think the neighbors are doing something.
okay.
But
I hope that's all it
it fell for my pizza the night before. Pizza mushroom.
is.
Those do happen. Those happen. Princess said he was born with all of his insides in a sack on the outside via
Oh,
the space where the belly button would be, so they did emergency surgery to put it all back inside and sewed it up where the belly button would be. So no belly button.
Interesting.
1933. That's kind of fun.
Wow.
I mean, that sucks about the insides being on the outside. That's not good. But you know,
no, that yeah,
after
that's a
surviving-
rare thing that happens.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
yeah, that's a weird thing.
Wow, but no belly button. That's really interesting.
I would tell everybody I was the first ever tube baby. No need for an
Just to
umbilical
fuck with
cord if
people.
you're in a tube.
Oh, it's interesting. I mean, a lot of things we're going to talk about tonight are like things that affect only small amounts of the population, and that is definitely a very unique
That's one of them.
condition that he had. Like, what in your genetic markers gets turned on or off to tell the body to put organs in the outside. It's so strange, dude. It's so weird.
Yeah. That DNA strand did not tell things to do what it should have.
Nope.
Weird. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
Okay.
heterochromia. We're talking about that, where people have the two different eyes.
Yeah.
I definitely called shenanigans on them lying about Bowie, but it's a common misconception. I understand. I get it, but that's not the case.
It's gotta be a car outside. It's gotta be a car
It
outside.
keeps happening.
It keeps happening. Somebody keeps opening and closing a door.
I think I'm gonna go close the front door though, just so we can eliminate.
We can do
That
it.
aspect.
Front door.
Want to do it?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
Princess, he was the first in the medical books. At least that's what I was told. Weird. No way, really?
Wow. That is so interesting. That's really cool. Wow. Yeah, everybody is so unique. And that's why I called this episode tonight, We Are All So Different, because we really are. Everybody has such different, unique little quirks about ourselves and how we see the world and our bodies and everything. And some people have one weird genetic quirk. Some people have a bunch, which apparently I have a lot of these weird little unique rare things, which is kind of cool. You know, it's kind of neat to be like, wow, okay, I won the lottery on like the weird genetic anomaly things that only a small percentage population has these. I'm like, all right, so at least they're not like horrible, debilitating diseases. That's good. But it's really neat. It's neat for us to be able to look at each other all as such unique individuals and seeing all the little things that makes us who we are. And I mean, there's, I guess, the textbook standards of what people, the average normal human body is, but it's interesting when you really start to look at the details and see all of these little things that we have. And some of the things we don't even know that they're different until somebody talks about it and you're like, really? I didn't know that was a thing. So, all right, we're going to keep going with this video, and then we'll touch on some of these in more detail as the show progresses. It'll be good.
Medical terminology for a condition that sees eyes having more than one color. Like most conditions, it's simply the result of a quirky genetic mutation and doesn't really have any major effects. In very rare cases, it can be a symptom of a more severe medical condition, but this is pretty much unlikely most of the time. For the most part, it doesn't cause any problems. Of course, it doesn't hurt that it's such a rare condition. It's more common in animals
Cute.
actually than humans.
I don't
In
even
total,
like
it
hairless
only
cats,
seems
but those
to
are really
affect
cute.
less than 200,000 people in the United States alone. Still, those of you who have heterochromia can say that you share a unique condition with many animals all over the world, which is a weird flex, I know, but
We
you have to
acknowledge our
admit
little
that it's
camera just
probably
went
a
out.
better thing to put in your dating profile than how you like to watch The Office, right? I mean, your matches would have so many questions. It's the perfect icebreaker. Number 16, the man with the golden arm. No, he's not a James Bond villain. The man with the golden arm is actually your average everyday human. With a very good heart, James Harrison is pretty much a national treasure in Australia, and so he should be. He's given more blood than anybody could even imagine. Harrison donated blood every single week for 60 years, saving the lives of 2.4 million babies in the process.
It's something I can do. It's one of my talents, probably my only talent.
So how did all of this come about? It all started when Harrison had major chest surgery at the age of 14. Harrison required a lot of blood donations and later credited them with saving his life. So naturally, he pledged to give back the very service that saved his life and become a blood donor. Soon after, doctors found that he had an exceptionally rare blood type, containing a unique antibody so rare that only 50 people are known to have had it in Australia. Harrison began donating blood plasma and ended up saving countless lives. In fact, just about every batch of the anti-D vaccine that has been created in Australia came from Harrison's blood. Eventually, at the age of 81, Harrison retired from giving blood. His retirement saw him being celebrated by people all over Australia who praised his incredible service and selflessness. Number 15, the DEC2 gene. Are you a workaholic?
This is
How
interesting.
about a
I
big
might have
sleeper?
this.
If you're both, you face a pretty unique problem.
about this.
How do you get the sleep you need, but also get your work done? Some people are lucky enough that they don't have to answer that. In 2009, researchers made a stunning discovery when they described a mother and daughter with a mutation in a gene called DEC2. While researchers generally recommend that adults get at least 7 hours of sleep, these two felt fully rested after just 6. The discovery prompted the experts to turn their attention to other so-called short sleepers. They discovered it was a much bigger, more widespread condition. According to the research, another similar gene mutation is present in around every 4 people out of 100,000, allowing people to sleep an hour less and feel totally well rested. Now, this doesn't sound like much of a fun time for those who enjoy sleep and hate work, but for the workaholics among us who feel there is simply not enough time in the day to get everything done, this is the stuff of dreams. Sadly, there's no real way to get the gene if you're not born with it, so we'll just have to wait until the drug from Limitless becomes a terrifying reality.
I'm really curious about that because I had not heard about that gene before. Come to find out, who was it? Einstein and Tesla, and who was it? There was some other like really like smart science people that were found to have this gene as well. And of course, once I'm asleep, I can sleep and I like to sleep, but I don't need to sleep that much. And we've had that conversation a lot where a lot of times you're like, I need 8 hours. And I'm like, why do you need 8 hours? You're fine. You don't need fucking 8 hours. Like, it's nice to have 8 hours, but you don't need it, you know? And you like really struggle if you have less than 8 hours. And my kind of perfect mark where I'm like, fine, I wake up naturally a lot of times is like 6.5 hours. I can function on way less than that. If I get 3 hours of sleep, I might get tired earlier in the night than I normally would, but I can function. I'm fine, you know? I don't like to get up. I don't enjoy getting up. That's my own personal issue, is the fact that I don't like waking up early.
Yeah.
But I wonder if I have the gene. I wonder if there's any way to test for it.
Maybe.
Because I'm such an uber night owl. There's something genetic in me that is causing me to be like hyper nocturnal, and I don't know what that is. And then also I don't actually require as much sleep. So upon learning about some of these things, when I was researching for this and they were talking about this gene, I was like, oh my fucking God, what if it is a genetic thing that I have this gene that says you don't have to sleep that much, you're fine.
Yeah. Weird. It's pretty weird.
It's super weird.
Also weird, I listened to a 2-part podcast on Einstein today. So that's interesting.
Huh.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, I
Draconis
think it was
says...
something.
Also, hello, Draconis.
Hello, Draconis.
So 6.5 hours is what you need, huh?
Yeah, that's my perfect amount too. 6.5 just is fine, honestly. I'm totally fine with that. Would I like to sleep for 10 hours? Sure. Do I prefer to give myself 8 hours? Yes.
Yeah.
I prefer it, but really it's fine. And then sometimes I wake up after 6.5 anyway, and I'm like, no, I don't want to be awake. I want 8. And then I'm like trying to go to sleep, and sometimes I'm like, damn it, well, I don't even want to be awake right now. There's no need for me to be awake, and my brain's just like, you're good, dude. You did what you're supposed to do.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'm an 8er. I did, in learning about REM cycles, I did kind of narrow down to, I believe my REM cycle is about right about 4 hours. So if I wake up at 4 hours, I wake up easier at 4 hours, but I crash real hard, real fast. Like I'm not awake very long during the day. But if I do 2 REM cycles and I get my 8 hours, I'm way better. It's like 7 to 8, but generally that's what I'm gonna need to be able to be a person for a full day.
Which sucks. I wish you were on the same train as me, because get more stuff done, be able to hang out longer, you know. But sometimes I don't know. Like, I guess thinking about this as an actual potential genetic advantage that I have. Now knowing that, I have a little bit more. What's the word? I guess. I don't know, sympathy for you, or a little more acknowledgement, you know? Because before I'm like, whatever, if I can fucking do it, you're fine. You can do 7 hours of sleep. You're fine. You can do 6.5 hours of sleep. It's fucking fine. I'm like, what's wrong with you? It's totally fine. You know, but realizing if I have some kind of genetic advantage that lets me function with that, and if it's not optimal for you, like, I don't know what it's like inside of your brain. Which is why, like I was saying, doing this video today is a good thing to try to have us be able to have these dialogues and talk to other people about things that we might have not even realized our differences and why they affect us differently, and help us to be able to understand and be more patient with each other, just in general with other humans in the world, because we all need different things and perceive things differently.
Yeah, true.
So sorry if I gave you shit sometimes and be like, come on, just fucking buck up, it's fine, you know. And you're like, but I need to sleep. And I'm like, gosh,
I don't want to.
Jeez. You prefer 14. Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
I think if I just like left to my own devices, nothing to do, not missing out on anything or whatever, I think I would could sleep, generally speaking, about like 10. I could probably do 8 to 10 pretty solid, you know. But for some reason, like I said, I get in the cycles where I'm only sleeping X amount of time, and then I just wake up a lot of times naturally. But I can make myself go back to sleep if I really want to. Yeah. If I was really bored, if I was in jail or something like that, and they're like, you have nothing to do, I'd probably sleep a lot more than I do, just because I'm fucking bored.
Yeah. Oh yeah, if I was in jail, I could sleep away a good few years of my sentence for sure.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Nothing else to do. I'm going back to sleep.
Yeah. Weird.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I just thought that was interesting. I wanted to bring that up because looking at some of these weird lists of anomalies, I'm like, I have that. Ooh, I might have that. Like, oh, I could definitely have that. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, there's all these things that are like super rare things, and I'm like, I just hit the grab bag of like all these weird things. So as they come up, I want anybody in chat, or me or you, call out if you have a thing. If it's something that you do have, or something that you might have, or whatever. I want to kind of hear from everybody what weird anomaly stuff that you guys have. So let's do it. Okay, I'm gonna keep going.
Number 14, Hercules' body.
You probably don't have that.
We've long been told that the secret to looking good is a 3-pointed pyramid: hydration, nutrition, and fitness. But hey, some people seem to be born lucky, allowing them to develop a muscular body without even having to do a single thing.
What?
This may do a real
Definitely
number on
don't
your
have
self-esteem. This is Nguyen Hoang Nam, a 10-year-old Vietnamese boy.
Con ước mơ sau này của con là muốn làm vận động viên thể hình.
Obviously, he's not your average Vietnamese kid. I mean, look at him. He looks like he could punch Hercules in the face and win. Nam was born with myostatin-related muscle hypertrophy, which the local media translated as Superman syndrome. Actually, the condition has nothing to do with how strong he may be. It simply means he was born with the condition, which causes muscle overgrowth. While it doesn't cause any major health problems, it does limit the kid's flexibility and leaves him with some difficult muscle stiffness. Still, he doesn't let it get him down. In fact, Nam's dream has shifted to becoming a bodybuilder. I'm no expert, but I would take a pretty confident bet that he will succeed in that career, if only because he doesn't even have to try. Up against this guy, I'm sure even Arnold Schwarzenegger would say, okay, this is totally pointless. I may as well not even be here. Number 13, Siren Amelia. I was almost tempted to ask what you think cyanomelia meant, but then I remembered that we record these videos far in advance, and that I can't really hear you, but it's okay, I can just tell you exactly what it is. It's mermaid syndrome. However, mermaid syndrome is not anywhere near as fun or quirky as it sounds. It doesn't make you any better in the water, and it also doesn't mean you can suddenly sing stunning melodies that will lure foolish men into their deaths. It's an extremely rare condition.
Look, I'm not even quite the same than all the others, but some people just like the way I am.
That sees infants born with partial or complete fusion of the legs. Not unlike the mermaids you hear about in legend. Of course, it has more drastic consequences in reality. Sufferers can develop additional problems, such as gastrointestinal abnormalities, spinal problems, or even underdevelopment of the kidneys. And those are arguably the less severe problems that can develop if you survive at all. Cyanomelia is often
Cowpoker,
fatal
what's
during the
up?
newborn
Hi,
period,
Cowpoker.
killing many of its
Thanks
sufferers
for joining us
before
again.
even
Yeah,
having
nice
a
to see you
chance
again.
to
We're
live.
really glad to have
But
you.
the most interesting thing of all
Welcome
is
back.
that
We're learning
nobody
about weird
even
shit
knows
about
why it
people.
happens. Scientists
Right.
have been
Weird
unable
people
to
shit.
identify the genetic cause behind the condition, with most cases occurring randomly and
bizarre.
without reason.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
Number 12, preauricular pits. For the most part, all of our bodies are the same, right? Humans have the same basic shape: eyes, arms, torsos, tiny holes above our ears. Oh, wait, you don't have that? Okay. Well, that's the preauricular pit. Maybe we should dig deeper into it. Preauricular pit isn't a common condition, but you'll certainly know if you have it. The preauricular pit appears at birth as tiny skin-lined holes or indents on the outer part of the ear.
What?
But when it comes to the details, it very much varies from person to person. Some people may only have one ear affected, some may have two. You may
It
have
might be
multiple small
gills,
holes.
old
It's
gills.
variable, but if you do have them, you can rest easy. They don't cause any symptoms or anything. At most, they may get infected, but treatment is available, meaning there's nothing to really worry
Dude, that
about.
sounds
Okay, so
gnarly.
most of us are completely unaffected by the preauricular pit, but for those that are affected, you
Dude.
better make sure that you're
Why?
taking care of your
Why?
I don't
very
know why that's
unique
so
ears.
bad.
Also, if I were you, I would be telling everybody just how
like gaggy.
unique I am, but then maybe I'm just desperate for attention. It's been a very long pandemic, you know?
Why would you not?
Number
pierce it if you're
11,
gonna get a piercing?
Ectopia cordis.
Okay.
We all know the phrase wearing your heart on your sleeve, but I don't think any of us expected that it would be based on a literal event. Ectopia cordis is an extremely rare condition, but one that should be taken
Whoa.
with the
Weird.
utmost seriousness.
Why would they blur that
Ectopia
out,
cordis is a condition that sees babies born with their hearts either partially or fully outside of their bodies. Generally speaking, this condition often goes hand in hand with other birth defects, making for a pretty difficult life for the babies. But when I say it's extremely rare, I mean it. The condition only affects 8 of every 1 million babies born.
I'm the only one that has this.
And sadly, most of those children are either stillborn or die within 3 days of birth. However, not all of them die. In fact, many healthcare experts around the world can help those affected babies live for weeks or even years with the right treatment. Like most of the conditions on this list, the world's foremost medical experts aren't even sure of what causes ectopia cordis. They have theories, of course, but theories don't necessarily translate into clear facts and science-backed evidence. We just have to hope that modern science will find a way to fix the problem sooner rather than later. Number 10, tetrachromacy. How many colors can the human eye actually see? I imagine most people would just say all of them, because if there are colors we can't see them. Good logic. Apparently you're wrong. Some people can see more colors than most, which seems impossible, but hey, science says it isn't. Tetrachromacy is the condition of possessing 4 independent channels for conveying color information. That means the sensory color space is 4-dimensional, as opposed to the 3-dimensional color sense most of us have. But actually, it doesn't mean that you can see more colors, necessarily. It simply means you can differentiate colors with more clarity than your average human.
About to dive right in and finish up the piece here.
I'm not sure what situations you would need to be in for that to be a major advantage, but I'm sure it's a godsend when it comes to picking up paints to use for your wall.
Aurora
It's also
watching.
theorized that tetrachromacy in humans could possibly enhance vision in dim light or when looking at a screen. But that hasn't been tested, so even if you do have tetrachromacy, we don't recommend that you go diving into a wall or something. You're amazing, yeah, but you're not a superhero. Number 9. Flexible eyeball. There are some things that we just don't need
Damn.
to know about. Eye popping is one of them. As someone who would happily describe
Oh,
themselves as
whoa,
squeamish, I do not need to see anybody pop their eyeball out of their head. And yet, here we are. I sincerely apologize. Despite the common misconception, not every popped eyeball comes from head trauma. In fact, some people are just born with the ability to relax their eyeballs to such a degree that they just kinda pop out of their sockets.
That is insane.
It's one of the most disgusting sentences I've ever said in my life, but it's true. Just imagine how the poor eye doctor feels. Apparently, people who suffer from shallow eye sockets or floppy eyelid syndrome often
Floppy
have their
eyelids.
eyeballs popping out during routine eye examinations. At that point, I would probably change careers and be a car salesman or something. So yeah, eye popping is a real thing, and sometimes it's intentional. Other times it pretty much just exists to terrify the eye doctors into thinking they got a little too close with the equipment. And I'll be honest, I think it works. I'm not even an eye doctor, and I'm considering just never looking at a human being ever again. Number 8. Ehlers-Danlos.
I think that was interesting. Out of everyone that they showed that was doing that, all of them were black. Is that? I wonder if that's a thing, like if it's a genetic
Interesting.
thing passed along.
Oh, I don't know.
Neither, like, I don't think it was all African American. I think one or two of the guys looked like they were Indian or something, so maybe they were just super dark skinned. But I mean, there wasn't a single white person that they showed doing that, which is interesting. Like, so I wonder if there's a genetic something, or if it's something with the shape of like eye sockets, or I don't know, or if there's like a muscular development with the eyelids that is different. But that's interesting. Just thought I'd
Yeah.
call out that
Yeah, that.
intriguing thing. And yeah, now that I think about it, I've seen multiple people do that, at least on videos and stuff. But yeah, they've all been black. Interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Syndrome. There's a weird belief that people who suffer from unique body conditions must feel somewhat unlucky or cursed by life. That could not be further from
thanks,
the
TJ.
truth.
Thanks for those
Actually,
bits.
most of
That's
these
awesome.
people find some
Thank you.
unique
Appreciate
way
you.
to make it work for them. And every now and
You're
then,
rad.
someone finds a way to profit.
Wow.
Meet Gary
That's okay.
Turner, a sideshow performer and Guinness World Record holder. Thanks to a very serious form of Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, Gary has an unbelievable amount of skin thanks to his ability to stretch it. On October 29th, 1999, Gary managed to stretch the skin on his abdomen to an unthinkable length. 6.25 inches to be exact. It was that
Weird.
accomplishment that led him to break the world record for the stretchiest skin. From there, his success only continued, appearing in a short film about his condition and joining the sideshow full-time. Not a bad life for a guy with super stretchy skin.
He used to pull my skin and show his friends, and I knew by their reactions I had something straight.
Gary Turner is an example of a guy who was born into a very specific condition, and rather than let people feel sorry for him, he turned it into a career, making the best of his condition. Or to put it in a more fitting way, he stretched his condition into a career. Look, I don't feel any better about it than you do. Number 7.
Okay, hold off on that one. That is interesting because Ehlers-Danlos, that can be extremely destructive to people's bodies because it usually does not just affect the skin. It's a connective tissue disorder, and all of your organs are held where they are in your body due to your connective tissues. So, one of my friends, Brenda, actually had to have heart surgery because her heart was sinking because the tissue wasn't holding it properly. And actually, I just found out June, her sister-in-law is in the hospital right now. She has Ehlers-Danlos, and her stomach was shifting because of it, and she had to have a feeding tube, and she's had complications with the feeding tube.
Oh, no.
It's pretty bad, yeah. It's not good. So I hope that these people, that have the stretchy skin, that's just how it's manifesting in them, and it's not actually the connective tissue part where your organs start falling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's a couple different iterations of it, but that's no good.
No, so it doesn't just do the skin thing. It like Princess said, it's a lot more. than that, and it can kill you. The life expectancy is not as high normally because your body is like shifting as a result of that always.
Yeah.
So I'm glad I don't have it. I'm hypermobile. A lot of people with Ehlers-Danlos also have hypermobility that goes with it. And I had them test me for it when I went to the rheumatologist a while ago because I wanted to make sure that because of my hypermobility that wasn't tied in. But they did tests. I'm good. It's very good. I'm really glad. I don't have the stretchy skin, but I could have other things going on, you know. But thankfully I don't. But yeah, that is definitely something that people need to watch out for if they have that. It's not just fun stretchy skin.
Yeah, and Princess, that sucks that your friend was misdiagnosed for a long time. I'm glad they figured that out, though.
Yeah. Oof, that sucks.
Not good.
Okay, carrying on. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed that, Santoni.
Perfect pitch. When people talk about having perfect pitch, they're usually talking about being a singer who just can't be off key. They hit every single note and it is always something incredible to behold. That is, of course, just one definition of what it is to have perfect pitch. Believe it or not, some people have the incredible gift of being able to precisely and accurately identify musical notes. They can hear, say, C-sharp minor, note C-sharp minor, and immediately recognize it as such. But while most musicians will claim to do this, most of them aren't actually born with the gift of perfect pitch.
F, A, C sharp, E, A flat, C, E flat, G flat.
And I know that because it is statistically impossible. Less than 1 in every 10,000 people are actually capable of the above, making perfect pitch a pretty rare gift for anybody to have, let alone professional musicians. Of course, it's a controversial thing. Scientific experts have long debated whether perfect pitch is a God-given thing, handed out at birth, or if it's a learned skill. What we do know is that while you can learn to develop perfect pitch, provided you have the dedication and the training to do so, but that's, well, it's not anywhere near as easy as being born with a gifted ear. It's like being a voiceover artist. Some of us are just born lucky. It's me, I'm saying I'm, you know, you got it. It's fine. Let's move on.
So is it just being able to hear it and differentiate? I mean, with that one, like, otherwise you wouldn't know what the notes are called, so I guess you have to be trained to know what to call them. But is it being able to, like, replicate a pitch that you hear?
Yeah, or being able to, like, you know, if somebody names a note, being able to just sing that note, whatever, maybe. I don't know. Yeah,
but that's also
a weird one.
Being taught it, you know? Because if you don't know what a C sounds like...
You'd have to know what a C is.
Exactly. You're learning the language.
Yeah.
Okay, so you taught yourself how to play certain songs on guitar by listening to it. I can do that by ear a bit too. I don't know any... Well, I mean, I know some like guitar chords and stuff like that, but I don't know musical theory or musical language really at all. So I could hear it and I could figure it out, but I wouldn't know how to explain it because I'm not trained in that kind of way. I don't think it's perfect pitch, but I feel like if I understood more about the instrument, I think I would be more able to find that because I can hear it in my head.
I just learned recently that's actually a musical instruction technique. There's a specific name for it. It's somebody's name that started the technique, but learning music by sound and listening and mimicking those instead of by learning how to read music. Like most people that go through that technique can't really read music, but they hear it and they know how the notes play together and what is supposed to be where, and they can play that, but they can't read music.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And I guess as we're going to talk about more later about how we perceive things and how we like process information, I would imagine those of us like myself where I hear the entire thing in my head as if you push play on a fucking CD player or something like that, you know? It's easier for me to replicate those things because I'm hearing it. I'm just figuring out how to play along with it. It's like it's having it on in the room and I'm playing along with it. But for people that don't have that much detail in their inner voice or inner dialogue or whatever, I could see it being way easier to be able to read music and be able to replicate it in that way. So I wonder, there's got to be a correlation. I never really thought about it before, about people that are more proficient in reading music and opt for that versus playing by ear. I wonder if there's a more detailed inner voice in the people that are able to play by ear
Maybe,
better.
yeah. It's at least been
Just a
exercised.
Yeah.
Hi, Buttery.
Hello, Battery. Welcome. We're glad you're here. And thank you again, Slim Tony, for the bits. You're fucking awesome.
Oh, we got more bits. Oh,
Got
sweet,
more
thanks.
bits. Thank you.
Sick.
Yeah, we're
man.
glad you're here, Battery.
Yeah, nice to see you, Buttery. Welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in.
Yes. Okay, what's the next one on the list? Weird, rare body features only 1% of the population have. What's next? What's it going to be?
Number 6, 13 minutes underwater.
This is so interesting.
Holding our breath underwater is not an easy feat. In fact, it's pretty much a surefire way to induce most of us into a panic attack. But let's travel over to Southeast Asia, where a group of sea nomads have grouped to combine their powers and, thrive underwater. The Bahau are a tribe of Indonesian sea nomads, famous for their unique abilities. They can hold their breath for 13 minutes underwater. That gift has led them to become known as the fish people, which make a lot of sense because they were literally born this way. According to a scientific study, the Bahau people have evolved spleens 50% larger than normal people,
Weird.
which serve as storage space for oxygen-rich blood cells. That certainly explains how they're able to free dive to more than 200 feet beneath the surface and fish for 5 to 10 minutes at a time. It's apparently the first known example of humans evolving to adapt to deep diving. Not a bad legacy there, my friends. For over 1,000 years, the Bahau have been wandering the seas of southern Asia and free diving for their food. So this was not an overnight thing, but it really shows just what evolution can do for humanity. When we've been eating McDonald's for 1,000 years, well, we might sweat Big Mac sauce. So, yum?
It's true.
Number 5,
Is that...
polydactyly.
Hold on. I wonder if that's the same people that have the advanced eyes where they can see better underwater. Because I think it comes from some kind of underwater fishing and diving. I thought it was like hunting for clams, but they are able to see underwater better than most other people, and their eyes have actually adjusted and evolved to be better underwater.
Really?
I wonder if it's those same people.
I have no idea. That's very interesting.
Yeah, it does something where it accounts for the refraction of the light through the water and helps them see. But very interesting, though.
It would make sense. People are evolving to be more proficient underwater, then that would only make sense.
Yeah, especially if that's how they've been hunting for food for, generations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, makes sense. That's trippy that it's their spleen is what's holding oxygen. It seems like it'd be lungs, like lung capacity or something, but I don't know. Do we hold oxygen in our spleen? And I didn't know that's what a spleen did.
I didn't either, but I guess it helps hold
Guess
more
so.
oxygen-rich blood.
Guess so.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
13 minutes. Jesus
13
Christ.
minutes. That's getting close to the world record. And they're just like doing it.
Yeah.
Which makes me wonder how far
For
could they go
thousands
if
of
they
years.
practiced and worked on it. Like the people that are holding their breath for 17 minutes. I wonder if these guys actually went through the training, how long they'd be able to hold their breath.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they could be hitting 25 minutes. It's trippy. Very weird.
Weird.
Okay.
That's very weird.
Polydactyls.
When I first read this, I thought the writer had just had a very difficult time spelling pterodactyl, but no, this is a real condition, and it's actually, nothing to do with dinosaurs, not even close. Polydactyly is a condition in which you have 12 fingers and 12 toes. That's fun. This is Joandri Hernandez Garrido, one of many people that was born with polydactyly, and to him his condition is a blessing. Polydactyly affects around 1 in every 1,000 births, but Garrido is kind of an outlier in that most children with this condition don't tend to have perfect extra digits. However, if you were to take a brief look at Yonandri's hands, you would never even notice that there was anything wrong, until of course you start counting and then you realize, unless you were high on something, then you might just think it was normal. But while Yoandri's 24 fingers and toes may be impressive to those of us that have 20, he's far from the record holder. In fact, a young boy in India has taken the record for the most digits with 34 fingers and toes. Obviously, they're not quite as perfectly formed as Yoandri's 24, but, well, he may be better equipped to catch a baseball. Number 4. Elf ears. Every Christmas you see 'em, people dressed up as elves, complete with colorful costumes, painful fake smiles, and pointy elf ears. To most of us, this is just part of the animal Christmas costume, but to some people it's not a costume at all. It's just part of their biology. Elf ear, also known as Stahl's ear, is a condition that leaves the ear pointy on the outside. Like most abnormalities, Stahl's ear is typically present at the birth of the child and is usually corrected pretty early in life. But even if it isn't corrected, the condition doesn't actually cause any kind of pain or suffering, and it doesn't affect the child's hearing whatsoever, so all in all, it really just makes the whole act of cosplaying even easier. Assuming, of course, that you're a fan of Spock, or any kind of mainstream media elf. The big scientific cause is pretty easy to identify. Normal ears develop with 2 folds of cartilage, but a Stahl's ear features a 3rd fold. If that support portion of the ear unfurls, you end up with a uniquely pointed ear. I have absolutely no idea if this is also how it worked for Spock and his people, but from what I can gather, their medical history is a little sketchy. Number 3. Simian crease. Just for a second, take a look at the palm of your hand. What do you see? Besides all of the life and wealth lines and whatnot, some of you may see a very sharp crease horizontally across the palm. That, my friends, is a simian crease, and if you have it, you are one of a rare few. The simian crease is actually an old name for a condition known as a single traverse palmar crease, or STPC. The people with it will likely see 2 creases across the palm, slightly offset, making for a unique pattern different from a typical palm. Now, for the most part, the genetics that cause this trait don't relate to any other medical condition. However, it is known to be more likely to appear in people with Down syndrome, fetal alcohol syndrome, or any similar conditions.
You have it.
I got it on one hand.
Whoa. I do not have it. You totally do.
My other one doesn't.
On one hand, though.
Yeah.
Whoa, you never noticed that before?
No.
Whoa.
I got it on the one hand. Try and get it where you can see it. I got it on that hand.
Wow.
There, you can kind of see it if I squeeze my hand.
Oh, that's so cool.
Weird.
That's really neat.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Real quick, Buttery, I saw that you did a redemption. And I'm so sorry, this was my personal bad. I forgot to turn the redemptions off. And normally whenever we do weird news, we do redemptions. But when we do a deep dive into something, we don't do the redemption. So we're gonna, Dusty's gonna refund it to you.
I don't know if I can actually do that. Can I do that?
Yes.
Okay.
You have to go into that, and then you can give the money back.
Oh.
There we
Look
go.
at that.
Okay. You have been refunded, but I owe you one. I'll give you a free one next time.
Yeah, we'll owe you an Oracle card. Remind us next time.
That
We'll
is totally my bad. I apologize for fucking that up. And then I'll have to go in when I have a second. I know. I'm so sorry. I was setting up right beforehand, and that's the one thing I forgot to do.
Yeah, in our deep dives like this, it just kind of throws off the flow. With the weird news and like open chat, it's one thing, but in these we try not to do them. But sometimes we forget to turn those off.
Sorry, buddy. But okay, so that, this is a very strange thing. Simian crease.
The semi-increase.
By and large, however, you can rest easy knowing that there's probably nothing wrong with you whatsoever. At most, your high fives and palm prints are just a little more special than those of so-called normal people. And as we've established throughout this video, you should be very proud of everything that makes you even a little different. That's what makes you special. Number 2, gleeking.
Oh, that's
Back
such a
in
weird
the
thing.
late 2000s, gleeking had a very different meaning than the one we're about to share. But hey, we're in the 2020s now, and glee is long dead, so let's reclaim the word for
can do it,
something
right?
more,
Yeah.
scientific, shall we? I'm sorry to say that gleeking is just as gross as it sounds like it's going to be. You know how some snakes can project venom from quite a distance? That's pretty much what gleeking is, only this one is, more spit-based. Gleeking is the act of shooting saliva from beneath your tongue, and the thing is that most of us have experienced this, whether willingly or not. It often happens when you yawn and suddenly find your stuff covered in spit. Welcome to the Gleeker Club. It's disgusting, but hey, we're TikTok cool now, so that's
Jakarta's has this one
something.
too.
While it's always been known
I
as an
think that's cool.
unintentional
I wish
or
I
accidental
could do that.
thing, many TikTokers are now training themselves to learn how to do it on purpose. Because apparently that's a thing now. I mean, considering how successful it is for snakes, I guess it's worth a try. Maybe we can get people to keep their distance in the COVID age. Actually, no,
TikTokers.
please don't
We've
gleek
been
at
doing that
people.
shit since the 80s.
That's just weird. Number 1, mirror hand syndrome. Take a wild guess what mirror hand syndrome is. Anybody that thought it was a condition in which your hand turned into a mirror? Good guess. But no, it's a rare congenital condition that sees the hand being totally symmetrical, somehow. In most cases, the symmetry consists of a central finger and 3 digits on either side,
That's
with
just
no
showing a
thumb.
regular-ass
That
baby.
usually
Yeah, that's
means
a
you'll
normal
have
hand.
7 or 8 fingers on one hand, making for quite the high five. But this condition does lead to some other differences, with many abnormalities being seen in the forearm and elbow, and limiting movement throughout the arm from the fingers to the elbow. But as for what causes it, that's one of science's great mysteries. Medical experts are pretty sure that the genes responsible for positional information during limb development are probably involved in some way, but beyond that, it's a lot of guesswork. The mirror hand syndrome can be diagnosed as early as prenatal ultrasound, which makes it even more baffling for many scientists. Thankfully, those who suffer from the condition do have options to correct it, with surgery dedicated to correcting appearance and improving function. And again, it's a hell of a high five. Do you or your
Keep saying
family
fuck
have
baby,
any
it's annoying me.
unique conditions?
Yeah.
So
Let
relevant
us know in the
information.
comments. Also, check out our other cool stuff showing up on screen right now. See
Right. Cool, that was interesting. There's a lot of interesting information
Yeah.
on that one.
Yeah, that was a good one. Weird. So
That's
I
full of
got
weird stuff.
2. I got the gleeking and the palm thing. I got the
Yep.
simian hand.
I got the toe thing. And probably the sleeping gene,
Probably.
most likely. Is there any other ones that they brought up on the other hand? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
They got 2.
Oh, your tail.
That would be really cool if I did have one.
Yeah, right.
Interesting.
Buttery. Best hand job ever.
Totally.
Could be.
Yeah. if
Might be
there's
too
2
many
hands,
fingers in the way. I don't know. But it might not work
I don't
well.
know, I'm impressed. Okay, that was cool. That was really neat.
That was good.
So, all right, I want to take this moment to ask the chat, do any of you guys have anything that you acknowledge as a genetic anomaly or just some kind of anomaly? Maybe not even necessarily like passed down in generations genetic, but do you guys have anything that you deem to be unique to yourself that you would like to share?
Yeah. Strange abilities.
Strange abilities, strange things that are...
Can you lick your own
Weird.
elbow?
What's up with that being a thing? That's so weird. Why do they say you can't lick your own elbow? Can you do it?
Most people can't. People with longer tongues can, but most people cannot.
Why you'd ever want to, really?
Just one of those weird things.
I don't think I've ever tried, but I probably can't do it either. Probably not.
Probably not. Your tongue is only like that long, so I'm gonna guess no.
A little tiny thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I get.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. No. We've talked about a few things on here. Ear wiggling. We've talked about ear wiggling being a thing.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Wiggle my ears.
Can't wiggle my ears.
Who in chat can wiggle your ears? I know we've asked it before, but we have some new people in right now.
Yeah.
Who's ear wigglers? I find it weird that people cannot wiggle theirs. That was the one when I found out that people couldn't do it. I was like, what do you mean? I don't understand. I do not do that. It's very strange to imagine that, like, that part of your face is just always static and the same. I'm constantly, like, it's part of my facial movements is me using them. I use them all the time. All the time. Okay, Buttery can, Dracona's can.
Dracona's. Okay.
Cool.
No, can't wiggle my ears.
That's so weird. Also, weird ear thing. I have a little notch on my ear. There's like a little chunk taken out, and I was born like that. My dad has one, but it's a smaller. But mine is like full blown, like a hole punch.
Yeah.
So that's just like a random little thing. I don't know anybody else.
It is like a bite taken out.
It really is. It's funny. I should get it pierced on the cartilage around it and have a little ring going through that little loop. That'd be cute.
I think you should get a ring going through the top and the bottom of it, around it.
Top and the bottom, like an orbital kind of thing.
Yeah.
Ow, that sounds like double ouch.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
It hurts 2 times.
One time is more than enough. I feel like.
Nah.
Not a big fan of piercings. I like the way they look when they're healed up, but cartilage doesn't bode too well for me. Generally, it fucking hurts. 6 months of hurting. It's usually 6 months. Any cartilage stuff that I've had, it takes about 6 months to heal.
That's a long time.
Yeah, but they say it's about 6 months. That's the average for cartilage healing to be like totally healed up.
I guess so, but it doesn't hurt that long. It takes a while for
It's
it
like
to
sensitive though, laying on it at all. That's when it's like it's still sore.
Guess so.
Weird. I did get my traguses done many years ago, and I was so glad because I waited until I was probably 35 or something like that to get it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. No, all the cartilage stuff is bad. I've had multiple cartilage piercings in the past, and it sucks because I'd love to have more jewelry up there. I think it'd be really fun, but it fucking hurts, and then it stays sore forever. And then I've rejected some of them, so there was no point in me even fucking doing it at all. And that makes me more mad.
Yeah,
about
I
it.
hate that. I did stretch my cartilage over here. Stretching it was a bitch. That was rough. Piercings are one thing. Stretching it was a whole other situation.
That sounds
Oh, we're
horrible.
good. It's fine. I like it.
Crazy.
Okay. Where do we go from there?
That was pretty fun. Hey, Chid, what's up, bud?
Oh, hi, Chid. You just got off the golf? Off the golf course. Oh, it broke down on 2 lines on mine. Just got off the golf. Everybody look out. Chid's on the golf.
I'm so glad that you are here with us.
Yeah.
It was nice to see ya. Did you have a nice golfing time? Was it a nice day? Hopefully you didn't get freaking heat stroke
Yeah,
again.
no heat stroke. All right.
Okay, well. Okay, we'll go through this and we'll just skip ones that we've already covered
Okay.
on here. So, rare body features that most people don't have is the article.
Okay.
So, let's see here. And like I said, call out if any of you guys have these things. An extra rib is a rare body feature you might not even notice.
Okay, yeah.
Most people have 12 pairs of rib bones, but there's a chance that some people actually have 25 ribs. It's 1 in 200, which is not that rare. It's a little rare, but it said they have a rare body feature that's called cervical rib. It's present at birth, and it forms above the first rib, growing at the base of the neck just above the collarbone. You can have a cervical rib on the right, left, or both sides. It's possible you have one and don't even know it. It's because this extra rib doesn't always form completely and might just be a thin strand of tissue fibers that wouldn't even be present in an x-ray.
Okay.
That's really bizarre.
Well, is that even really a rib then? If that's just extra tissue fibers. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like it's got to be a bone to be
questionable.
considered a rib. That's just a growth at that point.
Yes. I know, it's weird.
Yeah.
Okay. So, now they're talking about heterochromia again, which this is interesting because it says in the United States, fewer than 200,000 people have the condition. That's way more rare than I thought it was, actually.
Yes.
The other day when we were at a concert, my friend Ricky popped up and we were chatting a little bit. She has heterochromia. And then I was talking with another friend, a new friend who I had just met that day. Like 5 minutes after I was talking to Ricky, and I looked at her and I was like, "Oh my God, you have heterochromia." And she's like, "Yeah, I do." And I was like, "My friend Ricky was just here. She has it too. It's rare to see that ever, and then have two people like in a row." And she was like, "No way, I'd love to meet her." And I was hoping Ricky would come back, but unfortunately, it didn't work out. But we were talking about it. We were like, "Okay, did I just talk to the only two people in the whole crowd that have heterochromia, or are there more people with heterochromia here that don't even know that there's other ones here?" Like, it was very strange.
Yeah.
But if that is correct, which I don't know, I'm not fact checking it in this moment, I'm just reading this article that was written saying fewer than 200,000 people in the United States have it. I'm gonna have to look it up. How rare? How rare is heterochromia? Less than 1% of the world's population. Fewer than 78 million people worldwide. It sounds like a lot. Consider that between 70 and 80% of people, or about 6.4 billion people, have brown eyes, which is by far the most common eye color on the planet. Wow.
Okay.
Okay.
Weird.
Yep, this one's saying it's definitely rare. Fewer than 200,000 Americans have the condition. Wow. That's only about 6 out of every 10,000 people. It's currently unknown how rare central heterochromia is, but we do know it isn't quite as rare as complete heterochromia. Oh.
Okay.
So there's two kinds.
Okay. Yeah, where like the center of the eye is a different color than the outside edge, where there's like a color fade.
Which, actually, I might have that. Now I'm thinking about it. You looked at my fucking eyes.
Yeah. You might have that a little bit for sure.
Because it's very strange. Strange thing is I was born with blue eyes, which most babies are born with blue eyes, but within the first few months of their life, their eyes change to a different color that settles into their color. Thanks
Yeah.
so much, Brian. That's awesome. Thank you. Or Slim Tony.
Oh,
Thank
yeah, that's
you.
TJ.
TJ, sorry. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you,
Yeah.
TJ.
Look at all those cheers.
Yeah.
Look at those dancing pyramids.
But yeah, I was born red hair and blue eyes, which is the rarest combination in the world. I didn't even know that at the time. But I was redhead, blue eyes, boom. And you know, normally babies' eyes change within the first few months of their life, but my eyes changed to green at 6 years old.
Yeah, which is way late. That's way late.
It doesn't make any sense. It's very weird. My brother is adopted. We adopted my brother when he was a baby, but when I was 5.5, and his eyes changed from baby blue eyes. They changed to green, and I swear right around the same time my eyes changed to green too. My mom was like, "What the fuck is going on? How are your eyes green? This doesn't make any sense."
Yeah.
And she took me to the doctor, and they're like, "We don't know, that's weird, you know?" And she's like, "Is there like a problem, you know?" Like, no. And they're like, that's a weird thing. We don't know what happened. So it's already weird enough that my eyes changed from blue to green. But when you look at my eyes, it's greener on the outside and it's bluer on the inside. So now I'm really thinking about it. Do I have central heterochromia, and did it develop in me? It wasn't something I was born with visibly, but is it something that popped up later?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. It's blue and green.
Mm-hmm.
That's fucking
Oh, yeah.
weird, dude.
For sure.
What's up with that?
I don't know.
Now I'm really curious.
Buttery. Thanks, Buttery.
Yay!
Hooray!
Buttery!
So many bits.
Thank you so
Look
much.
at those bits. Sweet. Thanks, friend.
That's awesome. I appreciate you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
We've been starving for bits lately, so thank you
Starving for bits.
so much. Okay, so let's look up how rare the central heterochromia is, because that's interesting. So there's like complete heterochromia, obviously, is two completely different colored eyes.
Mm-hmm.
But then there's central,
Yeah.
and then I don't know, under it there's just eyebrows, which is telling you anything. So I don't
Oh,
know.
we forgot to change the camera on this one. Sorry, I didn't update the camera
Oh shit.
setting on this screen. Just
Oops.
go to the large video screen.
Okay. Sorry about that. Okay.
Whoa, princess, really? So that's very sought after in a few breeds of cats, and depending on which breed it shows up, some of them can fetch 5-digit.
Whoa.
That's an expensive cat.
How rare is central heterochromia? Heterochromia is rare eye condition, but it's also rarely an eye health concern. Fewer than 200,000 Americans. But I'm just wondering, since complete heterochromia obviously is super bizarre, I'm wondering about the central. Like, is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. Now I'm really curious about that, because no, I mean, the eye doctors, no one's ever mentioned it before.
Mm-mm.
I never thought about it like this before, actually, now that we're thinking, which is why I wanted to do the show. This is awesome that we could talk about weird shit, and maybe we have things that we don't even know that we have that are weird. Because this whole thing was prompted by a very specific thing we're going to talk about soon. But this thing where I was like, what do you mean some people can do that? And those people that can do it are like, what do you mean people can't do it? Like, it's so interesting that there's these things happening within us and around us that we just assume is normal, don't even think much about it, and then we find out, no, it's actually a rare thing, or it's like a bizarre thing, or, oh, it's rare that you can't do the thing and everyone else can, or whatever. So now I'm really curious. I want to see some images of
Let's see.
this.
This might answer our question.
Okay, good. That'll be great.
Maybe.
Because I feel like maybe this is kind of similar to my eye.
Yeah, it's in that same vein. That one's a very prominent version of it, but yeah.
Now I want to take a picture of my fucking eyeball. See, because I can't really see my eyeballs. I don't look at my eyeballs that closely all the time. Does any of you guys have it? Shenanigans going on for sure. Yeah, there's this one. Oh.
Yeah, it says that, I guess on allaboutvision.com, says complete heterochromia is rare,
Right.
which is the rarest one. It's currently unknown how rare central heterochromia is, but we do know that it's not quite as rare as complete heterochromia.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it's not quite as rare.
For sure. I could see that.
Says, much of this comes down to the fact that central heterochromia is hard to document, and unless it's acquired later in life, it doesn't necessarily need to be documented. There are fewer questions about it because, unlike complete and sectoral heterochromia, it doesn't seem out of the ordinary. So it's around. But yeah, I guess
Still rare,
you
but
don't
not
have it
as
when you're
rare.
a child, then they're not writing it down as like heterochromatic eyes or whatever, because whenever you're born, they write down color of your eyes and all that, so it's documented.
Right.
But
Oh, that's so weird.
yeah,
That's weird if it.
that's
why
weird that
it
yours
was
changed
just-
that late.
Yeah.
That's real late to be changing.
It's
for eye
really
color.
strange. It really was confusing to the doctors and my parents.
I guess.
And to me. Why? I don't know. What I'd like to think, which, I mean, who knows? It's just kind of sweet this way. But my brother, since we adopted my brother, and we weren't genetically linked, when his eyes turned green, my eyes turned green. And therefore it was like this like special little link that we had together. Like it was like some kind of mimicry type of thing.
Yeah, that's interesting.
No, and his eyes are
Super
like
cool, though.
super
That's-
green.
Yeah, that's true.
He has the best eyes. I'm jealous of his eye color. His eye color is fucking awesome, dude. It's like
Yeah.
super, super green.
That's very true.
So, yeah, TJ, what's up?
Sick.
So I don't know. Very, very weird. I never ever really thought. I mean, I've noticed that I have the green and the blue, but I didn't think about it as a form of heterochromia.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna have to check that out later.
Well, now we're gonna have to get you one of those close-up eyeball photos that they started.
Can you
doing.
take a close-up eyeball photo right now
Yeah.
on my fancy phone?
Yeah.
Let's try it. Do you guys want to see it?
Let's
Want to
see.
see my eyeball? That'll be fun. Sarah's gonna fucking love it. What?
Eyeball.
Okay. Yeah, let's see. Let's see if you can get a good eyeball photo. And if you guys want to take any eyeball photos, you should send me in Messenger your eyeball. Okay, ready?
So then you're an eyeball.
Live on the show right now.
I should do a
Eyeball
flash.
photos.
We're gonna flash it.
In a flash. Okay.
Zoom in.
It's gonna blind me.
Yeah.
Did it work?
Yeah.
Sick. Okay. Oh, good job.
Yeah,
Okay.
you've got that golden ring. That's what, like, that one that you showed the example of was a little bit more prominent, but you've definitely got that.
Okay. I'm going to send this to myself, and I will show you.
Chid,
Everybody.
Chid, you definitely need a sick horse head for your bike, and you absolutely need coconuts for sure. But that's cool. Your Black Knight helmet came in. It's
Oh,
good.
that's awesome. That'll
That's
be
good.
fun.
Burning Man
Black
costume
Knight.
for Burning Man.
That sounds so fun. Okay. You guys ready to see my fucking eyeball close up? It's pretty weird.
Oh,
So, yeah, it's pretty distinctly two different fucking colors.
yeah.
Which now I'm wondering. Because they said blue eyes and red hair is the rarest thing.
Mm-hmm.
Green eyes with red hair is the second rarest thing. What about green and blue eyes at the same time with red hair?
Yeah.
That's got to be rarer than one or the other, I would imagine.
Yeah. That doesn't look green in that photo. Your eyes are green. I've seen them. They are green. But this photo does not make them look
Yeah,
green.
maybe it's not picking up the colors as much. It's pretty green, but yeah, it's like this, whatever this layer is over the blue makes it look green.
Yeah. So, but yeah,
It's weird.
that ring, you definitely have that inner ring.
Well, that's cool. Cool. Okay, this is awesome. We're figuring stuff out. We're figuring out things on stream. I want
Yeah, we're
everybody to look
learning.
at your fucking eyeballs right now.
Everybody look at your
your
eyeball.
palms. You know, we're just gonna bust through a whole bunch of weird shit today that you may or may not have. Chid, is your big toe shorter than your second toe, or is it bigger than your second toe?
Or,
Apparently, that's less than 1% of the population has a big toe that's shorter than the other toe. Mine is here. Want to show your toe?
Yeah.
Regular foot. Okay. Regular foot.
actually from the bottom, that made mine look...
Oh, hold on, I'm at a weird angle here.
Yeah, it was like, that made my second toe look longer than my first
Okay,
toe.
well you can't really tell, but
you can't
for
tell,
sure,
like, in...
for sure, my second
How does
toe
it change?
is bigger.
That is not the actual
don't
length
know.
of my toes. Why does that? That doesn't.
know.
I don't
That's
know what's
really
going
weird.
Big
Yes,
toe.
your big toe's shorter. We're on a team.
Oh.
We're on a team. Okay, so you
Toe
have
team.
you have a genetic anomaly. Good.
You're on the toe team.
This is good. Okay, everybody, keep track of how many weird things that we
Yeah,
have tonight.
how
It's
many
gonna be
you
good. So yeah. All right. Cool.
Okay.
I'm into it. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Okay. And then what?
Oh yeah.
What
So,
else is
hold on.
weird?
Okay. Okay. What else is weird? Okay. Red hair. Since we're talking about red hair, anyway, here we are. Natural red hair is rarer than you think. Worldwide, it only occurs in 2% of the population. So it's slightly more common in northern and western Europe and those with that ancestry, which I don't even have that ancestry that I know of at all. I'm like Mediterranean. Why do I have red hair? I don't fucking know. It's very weird. So it says in the great genetic card game, the shuffling of the deck that has made us all, red hair is the 2 of clubs. It is trumped by every other card in the pack. In order to have a child with this hair color, both parents need to possess the gene. So somehow both of my parents possessed the gene, which is weird because we're not Irish or Scottish or any of that stuff, so that's pretty weird. They make up a tiny percent of the population. And actually, while we're talking about redhead, okay. So, how can I pull this up? I'm gonna pull up this science of redheads, which is very fucking bizarre stuff. There's a lot of things. Okay, so first off, do any of you guys in the chat have red hair? Are you guys, any of you guys, redheads? Or do you have any children who are redheads? Or anybody in your family that you know of that is redheads?
My sister had
This'll be interesting.
twins with red hair, and there's no red hair in our family, and there are no other twins either.
That's
So
so interesting.
super.
That's really, really cool.
yeah.
Okay, no redheads out there. Okay, so there are some strange things. We have a higher pain threshold, which is badass, dude. We experience pain differently, and the results suggested that redheads may be less susceptible to most types of pain. They were saying that redheads can handle more electric shocks than those with different colored hair, and we're better at handling stabbing or sharp pain specifically.
Okay.
That's pretty awesome. I don't know what it feels like to have regular pain receptors, so to me it's normal.
It still hurts.
But it must be way shittier for other people. It must be terrible. Oh, Lord. So, there's that. This is interesting. It says they know when it's getting cold. Redheads feel hot and cold temperatures more severely than anyone else. I did not realize that. Maybe it's why I fucking hate the heat so much. But I don't mind the cold just because I think heat is horrible. So they discovered the hidden gift and hypothesized that the redhead gene, which is MC1R, may cause the human temperature detecting gene to become overactivated, making redheads more sensitive to thermal extremes. So if a redhead says they're feeling a bit chilly, layer the thermals, grab a blanket because winter is coming. Interesting. I think I just like cold because I was never cold before. I think it's just like a personal preference that I was so hot for so long that I just never want to be hot again. So if I'm cold, I'm like, oh, great, I'm not hot. It's fucking great. Yeah. But now I'm really wondering if maybe that has something to do with why I have such an, intolerance to heat. I never knew that was a redhead trait until I'm reading this right now. That's pretty cool.
Could be.
Okay, so Princess, you got redheads in the family. So we're going to learn all this stuff, and you can share this, if you want to, with any of your red-headed friends or family because it's pretty cool.
DG,
DG,
hello.
holy shit, it's been so long.
Hi, DG. It's been forever.
I am so glad to see you.
Yes.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
We thought you were missing forever, but you're here. It is fantastic. Yay. Well, you came on a good night. We're talking about all the weird things that make us all so different and then very rare anomalous things that our bodies have.
Yes.
So good. Stick around and tell us if you have any of the weird shit that we're talking about, because it's fascinating. So, okay, also redheads. We're talking about redheads right now. We don't need as much vitamin D. Thanks to higher concentrations of red hair and pale skin in cloudy European environments, redheads gained a greater ability to create their own vitamin D. When they go outside, we produce more vitamin D in a shorter amount of time than other people with other hair colors, which gives us an evolutionary advantage, since low levels of vitamin D can lead to ailments like rickets, diabetes, and arthritis.
Oh.
No shit.
Okay.
Okay, this is a weird one. We're seen as funnier, apparently.
Funnier looking.
Like Carrot Top. Ooh.
Yeah.
Let's see. The wigs needed to be bright, so a lot of clowns have red wigs.
Staged,
But the notion that the red-haired clown solidified in our culture during the early 20th century as a nod to the influx of Irish immigrants to America. It's no accident that Ronald McDonald spells his surname the Irish way instead of Scottish. Interesting. Okay, that didn't really explain more about the funnier, but
Yeah.
I guess clowns.
but yeah, clowns.
That's
Red hair means funny. Red hair's funny.
Okay, they love getting down and busy. Oh, saying the sex lives of women with red hair were clearly more active than those with other hair color. Interesting. Huh, alright. We're spicy.
Ooh, yep.
They can be from any race or ethnicity, which is kind of cool too. It's more common Northern European and specific parts of Russia. Oh, parts of Russia. I wonder if that's where mine comes from. The Russian. I have the Russian red.
Gotta be.
Not the Russian red. Okay.
Morocco, for example, has a higher than normal population of redheads.
Interesting.
Morocco has more redheads than most. Okay.
Huh. That is very interesting.
Okay.
And we're popular in commercials. 30% of the TV commercials that run during prime time prominently feature a redhead. At one point, CBS showcased a ginger every 106 seconds. That's a lot when you consider they're just 2% of the world's population.
Weird.
Whoa.
That's just weird. Why would... Okay.
That is really weird.
Yeah.
And then also, it's very bizarre, but we need more anesthesia than regular haired people, I guess. Which I made sure when I went into my surgery to let the anesthesiologist know, because obviously I have pink hair. So there's like, do you have any questions? Do you have anything that you want to say beforehand? And I was like, where's my anesthesiologist? And I'm like, oh, my redhead. And I'm assuming, since you're an anesthesiologist, that you know what that means and you will adjust accordingly. And he's like, absolutely, God, thank you for letting me know. And I was like, thank you.
Yeah.
So, and I told Dusty too, if I'm ever in an accident or something like that and they have to do any kind of thing, like, you have to let them know that I'm a fucking redhead.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't have roots showing or whatever, you know, because that would fucking suck to like wake up in the middle of a surgery because the anesthesia does not work as well
Yep.
on us.
Not good.
So, okay. They won't go gray when they're older. That's a weird trait of a redhead, where it fades. Red hair never turns gray. It just fades over time and can turn blonde or white, but never gray. We noticed that recently.
Mm-hmm.
I noticed.
At least you're not going gray.
No, but it's weird that I noticed that my red is fading out, and I didn't know if it's like white, if it's like going white, or if it's just going more blonde, or what's going on. But I'm like, definitely a redhead. There's no doubt. Look at the pictures of me as a kid, for sure. Definitely redhead. But you can't. It doesn't look as red anymore, which is a really strange
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Yeah, not right up front, especially.
Nope. So I was like, is it turning white? And he's like, maybe. And I was like, oh, God. So I've never seen a gray hair. I don't have any gray hairs, but we don't turn gray. So, like, what? Am I just going to have, like, stark white coming through? Like, what's going on? I don't know. I just noticed this, like,
Blonder.
like the other day. And I was like, oh, my God. What is happening right now? I'm getting fucking old, dude. Weird. Yeah, this article's saying as well that clowns often have red hair because ginger-haired people are seen as funnier. That is so strange.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, I thought that is
Interesting.
it's very interesting. So make sure to tell your ginger friends that they have a lot of very interesting traits. It's interesting about being better at detecting the temperature changes.
Mm-hmm.
So they were saying a study published in anesthesiology, researchers tested 30 women with red hair and 30 women with dark hair with a temperature device and found redheads were more sensitive to cold temperatures and had less tolerance for hot temperatures. And they said we're the first to start shivering when the temperature drops.
That's a lie. I shiver way before you do.
You do, but I have a lot more fluff over me
Well, that's
now.
true. I was gonna say, sure, you get cold and you're a redhead. I get cold and I'm a pansy.
that is true. This is also saying that redheads smell better. That we have a thin acidic film on the surface of our skin. The acid
Is
mantle.
that what that is?
I don't know. The combination of lipids from oil glands and amino acids from sweat. The mantle was more acidic in redheads, causing perfumes to evaporate more quickly, giving a unique scent. Isn't that fucking weird? It's super weird. So there you go. It's as far as we know, it's the only hair color that has weird shit attached to it that just doesn't make any sense. And I didn't know for a long time until I was older and we had the fucking internet, and I was like, what is this shit? I just just figured it's a hair color like anyone else, and it was more rare, but I didn't know that there was like
Other genetic
superpowers.
things that happen with it.
Yeah, it's really weird.
TG. Yeah.
Princess, it's funny, Sammy, you're originally from Florida, so you're more sensitive to cold. Not true. Opposite.
Not true.
Opposite. It's very weird. I am not sensitive to cold. I am sensitive to hot, which is what we were talking about. Dusty starts shivering way before.
Yeah.
I am not. I am totally. I love the cold. I am good in the cold. I am totally good to go. I enjoy it. I want it. But I was thinking that maybe it's a preference because of being hot for so long.
Yeah.
I was so hot my whole entire life, and now thinking about this, if I have more sensitivity to heat, and I didn't realize that was a genetic thing. I just thought I fucking hated it and it stresses me out, but like it really affects me more. So I think being hot for so many years of my life that I just want to be anything that's not hot. Yeah. So I actually enjoy the cold, and I can handle way more cold than most people. I can fucking handle it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But I mean, it would make sense if somebody is from Florida where they're used to being warm that they can't handle the cold as much, but that's not me. I want it as cold. Make it cold. I love cold. I hate hot. I fucking hate it. I never got used to it. That's the thing. Like, I mean, you're used to it as much as you can be living there. You can't escape it, so you have to deal with it. But I never was like, oh, it's not that bad. That it's just this hot all the time. I was like, oh my God, I fucking hate every day.
Yeah.
Even in the winter.
Yeah.
It's still fucking hot.
I guess sensitive to temperature changes doesn't have to mean that's different than preferences of which one you enjoy more.
Yes.
It's just sensitivity and being able to tell the differences. Easier.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah. But yeah, I'm definitely not intolerant to cold at all, which is interesting. That I'm intolerant to heat, but not as it doesn't affect me. The cold doesn't affect me as much. But also, I'm very well insulated, and maybe that has something to do with it. My layer of blubber that insulates me may just be a physical barrier that helps me out with it. But yeah, I don't know. It's really weird. You'd think that not living in cold places for a long time, it would have been really hard for me to acclimate, but
yeah, DG, my hair is dark brown too, which is weird because it was blonde when I was a kid. It was pretty light blonde. I was kind of like a sandy blonde kid. And then I started dyeing my hair when I was, I guess the first time I dyed it, I was like 16. And then I didn't see my natural hair color for 2 decades, something like that. And when I finally let it grow out, it was dark brown. And I was like, okay, I have brown hair now.
No.
And now it's going silver, so that's awesome.
It's super silver.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
But yeah, super dark.
Oh, God, DG. Oh, Jesus Christ. 108 degrees heat index for 2 weeks is over your tolerance level. Yeah, you think? It hits 72, and I'm like, ugh, that's my fucking tolerance level.
Yeah.
I can handle it, but straight up, when it hits 82, I'm like whining. 118, fucking just kill me, man. Like, I could not.
Yeah, that's not good.
No. Nope.
It's not good for anyone.
I would be so miserable. Like, there's no way I could live in an extremely hot place. Vegas or fucking Phoenix or any of those places that get like that. I'm a really, like, happy person. I'm a happy person. I don't complain very much. I'm, like, a pretty happy fucking positive person. If I lived in a place like that, I would be the most miserable, complaining, bitching asshole for, like, months.
Yeah.
Oh, it
For
would be
sure.
horrible, dude. It would be horrible. Oh, and the humidity. Yeah, DG. Fuck. I grew up in very humid and very hot, so I feel you being on that side of the country. That humidity makes everything so much worse, dude.
Yeah.
That's
Chid.
terrible.
Don't even talk to Chid about he right now. Yeah, that's fair.
Ugh. Yeah. Oh,
Plug your
shit.
ears,
I
Chid.
know.
La, la, la,
I know.
la, la.
It's crazy because you're more north in Canada. Like, you shouldn't be that hot.
No.
It's what's happening. Which honestly, I'm like extra concerned about climate change from a like a selfish perspective because I hate it.
Yeah.
I don't like this global warming thing. Can we do some global cooling? A little bit.
Yeah.
Can we facilitate that?
That's-
Because that would be way more comfortable.
We'll get into that later. Don't worry,
Jesus.
that Ice Age is coming back.
We'll get there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a rebound.
So keeping going on the weird things, gray eyes are a super rare body feature.
Huh.
So
I feel like mine are fairly gray. They're listed as blue on my ID, but they're faint.
let me look in your
Like,
eyeball.
I don't really have.
I'm gonna awkwardly.
I did
put
have
a flash-
hazel when I was younger. They kind of settled down. They don't really change.
Okay, let's see. We're doing eyeball research right now. Look at me. You're not even looking at me.
I don't know where to look.
I'm over here.
Oh, at you? Oh,
Yes.
I was trying to look at the light. I thought you were getting a picture.
No. They are pretty gray, dude. And you do have like the golden ring in the middle too, but it's definitely a light blue.
Really? I got
It's
a ring?
not a very yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, should we take a picture of Dusty's eye too?
Yeah. Everybody's doing it.
It's funny. Just take an eyeball. Alright. Oh, weird. I just got to see your pupil move when you
Weird.
did that. That was super weird. It was like beep.
You make my pupil quiver.
Okay, we're gonna show you. We showed you my eye, and we're gonna show Dusty's eye. If anybody wants to take photos of their eye, send it to me in Messenger. I will show it on stream. I'll do
DG,
it.
my middle name is
I'll
Gray,
fucking
if
do
that
it.
counts.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
Cool. That's actually pretty awesome.
I dyed my hair gray one time.
Okay, so here's Dusty's eyeball. Dun, dun, dun.
It's pretty gray. There's a little bit of a color change in the middle, I guess, but
There is a little bit.
pretty gray.
Oh shit.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean, it's bluish for sure.
bluish. They were bluer when I was younger, but they were hazel, and they did change.
Huh.
Generally, blue to gray, but then I have had green and brown show up into like my teens,
That's weird.
but they kind of settled in on that grayish color. They haven't really changed in a long time. Oh, thanks,
Well.
DG.
You beautiful king. Well, it's pretty rare. Less than 1% of the human population has that. So it's estimated 8 to 17% of the world's population has blue eyes.
Mhm.
Hold on, let's see. I want to Google specifically. Okay, so world population. We're going to talk about world population here.
Okay. Oh, that made it go away. I didn't think that was going to be that. Oh, well, you can go back.
Okay, so worldwide, green is the rarest. I guess it's not saying gray, so I imagine gray is the most rarest at 1%. Green, 2%. Hazel or amber is 10%. Blue is 8 to 10%. And then brown is 55 to 79% of the world population, roughly. So, what is the rarest eye color? This one says green.
Oh, that says how rare is gray.
Yeah. Gray is, it says 3%. This one says, gray eye color is one of the loveliest and most uncommon traits shared by only 3% of the world's population.
It's not
And then this
violet,
one says, how rare are gray eyes? We can estimate that less than 1%. So nobody knows. What they're saying is there's multiple different answers, but it is less. So, okay. Vast people, majority have brown eyes. The second most common color is blue. But you can also have green, red, amber, or red eyes. Blue. So, that's cool. What color eyes do you guys have? Tell me in the chat. Oh, Chid has gray eyes.
Oh,
Sweet.
yeah. We're eyeball buddies.
That's awesome.
eyeball buds.
Yeah, vampire eye. That's super rare. Yeah, everybody let me know. We both have diabetes? Oh, I hope not. Yeah, the eye science game can get very technical along with the hair game. Yeah, it's fucking super weird. It's super weird, but everyone's so different, so cool. There's not really a standard, and it's some weird genetic rolling of dice. It is super, super, super weird.
Yeah.
This is kind of a chart. Let's do a little chart here of the average eye colors of the world here. So you've got definitely going from blue to brown here. You have the different variations in between. That one looks more like mine, I feel like. Okay.
Yeah.
And yours kind of looks more like maybe that one. Maybe that one.
Yeah, I think that second one. Personally.
Cool. Mom, I'm glad you're here. Yeah, we were actually talking about that earlier.
Yeah.
We were talking about how weird. So here's my mother for confirmation. Even though my story sounded ridiculous, that at 6 years old my eyes turned green, but they did. They totally did. They were very blue for years. Yeah, and it was. We got Kevin. We adopted Kevin when I was 5.5, and at about 6 months old, when his eyes turned green, my eyes turned more green too. It's very weird. So cool. I'm glad you're here to confirm that, so people do not think I am full of shit. Which I'm not full of shit. I would never deceive you guys. But yeah, that's pretty cool. But did anybody else? Okay, Princess has dark chocolate brown. That sounds delicious. DG's got brown, deep brown. They call us full of shit brown. Interesting. Yeah, true story, Ma. It's super weird. And nobody could explain it. And you know what? I was we were just talking about before you came in, the fact that it's still blue around the outside ring, but the green came in the center. I think it's called central heterochromia, which is two colors at the same time. So I don't know what stipulations there are for that, but I don't know. It's a rare condition, and I'll talk to the eye doctor next time I go and have him look at it and be like, is this legit heterochromia, or is it just dual colored, like normal fade or something like that?
Full illusion, or
I don't know.
something. Who knows?
It's so weird. So okay, yep, and you got blue eyes, Mama. What about anybody else hanging out there? Wants to share? We know Chid's got gray, which is really cool. Your dad is 83 and he has that. His eyes are hazel and the ring on the outside of his eye is light brown. Oh, that's awesome. Hello, full indigo. You are lurking and have bloodshot or bedroom eyes. I love it.
Yeah, the bedroom eyes.
Thank you for looking. And that's awesome. Thanks for popping in.
Bedroom eyes are up
Bloodshot
there.
eyes.
That's up there with Buscemi eyes.
That's really funny. Oh, it's very, very, very interesting.
Yeah.
The amount of diversity of eye color that people can have. It's really, really cool. And what makes this happen? You know, it's just most people have brown, but it's really cool that sometimes they mix together and they form these really beautiful eyes. You know who has the most beautiful eyes I've ever seen in my life? Jared Leto, 100%. No offense, but it's true. He had like
That's why he was able to start a cult.
bright turquoise, like how bright that this one is right here, but it was like more vibrant blue. Like the guy's got some fucking eyeballs, man. They were good eyeballs.
They
I
got
was
good eyeballs.
captivated while looking in his eyeballs in real life. I was like, shut up.
Yeah.
It's like looking at the Mediterranean Sea. And you're right, he did start a cult. That's awkward. But it's true.
That's awkward.
Okay, so far, now that we did our eye inventory here, the majority is brown. Mom's got blue. And then you and Chid are in the gray. You're kind of on the blue-gray boundary.
It's a blue-gray boundary.
That's
It's a
cool.
light blue.
That's pretty cool.
Gray
When I was
with a
little, I
hint.
was told by my dad, my parents, and my friends that I had bedroom eyes. Creepy now, but I thought it was funny and sweet then. Weird.
Yeah, that's a little creepy.
Oh, and you got Betty Davis eyes, DG.
Betty Davis eyes.
You got Betty Davis eyes. I love it. That's great. Okay, so now next up on the list, this is a weird one. Blood, golden blood.
Golden blood.
Only 0.6% of the American population is AB negative. But it's not the rarest type in the world. It's the second to rarest. That's like without getting super weird, AB negative is the rarest. But according to Academy of Science, Rh null is a blood that entirely lacks Rh antigens and is much rarer. In 1961, there was an indigenous Australian became the first person discovered to have the blood type. Since then, only about 40 additional people in the world have been identified as having this blood type, making it a truly rare body feature. There are 9 active donors in the whole community of rare blood donors. Because Rh null is compatible with other rare blood types in the Rh family, researchers and doctors have recognized its value. They call it the golden blood. It's super weird. Gigi says, I always thought it was typo negative, and honestly, I only thought that because of the metal bands. No, O negative is very common. That is the common blood donator, which is cool. If you have O negative, I want to double check this. It's definitely an O. I think it's O negative. Is you can donate blood to anybody, and like that's the universal blood type. But AB positive, which me and my mom both are, we can receive any kind of blood, which is badass. So if shit goes down and I need some blood, you don't have to worry about it. Just pop whatever blood in me. I'm gonna fucking good to
Whatever,
go.
I'll take it.
So, and it's the only blood type that is compatible with all other blood types. So I feel like that's a superpower too. That's pretty awesome. And it is a more rare. It's the second rarest blood type besides the weird Rh null thing.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. Another weird thing to add to the fucking list.
Yep.
You got AB positive too? Sick. All right, you're in the AB positive group. Does anybody know what their blood type is? If you do know what your blood type is, put it in the chat, please. Apparently, it is not very common to know. When they do blood work, it doesn't say anywhere on your chart or anything. And they don't give that information out without you asking specifically for it, which I don't understand, because you'd think that would be in your chart and it should be something that everybody should know.
Yeah.
Because if you need any kind of blood, like you should know that.
Yeah.
And in Japan, it's a big thing. It's like kind of like astrology. They base people's personalities off of the blood types that they have. So everybody knows what the blood type is.
Yeah.
But out here, it's not even easily attainable. It's very weird.
Yeah.
Rabbit blood? Why is it called rabbit blood? I like it, but explain. Because if I got rabbit blood, I want to know why. I like rabbits.
No idea.
Love them. They're very cute, actually.
Yeah, rabbits are cute. Everybody likes rabbits. Because it's universal.
Is a rabbit universal? I'm missing something. That's what I've heard.
Rabbits aren't universal.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's very cool that we have the ability to take any bloods. Yay! Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Rabbit or not, I like it. Also, another weird, bizarro thing is there is a rare body feature that perfectly regulates cholesterol. It's a rare thing, but some people possess this feature that renders her incapable of developing high cholesterol. So, that is very strange. Somebody has a double dose of the mutation, which was inherited from both parents.
Mm-hmm.
So, however, 2.5% of black people have been since found to have a singly mutated one of these genes, PCSK9, and 3.2% of white people have a slightly singly mutated gene. Both of these abnormalities help to regulate cholesterol, but it's not as effective as the double mutation. That's so fucking weird. And then the hole in the ear is bringing up the hole in the ear again, which is really strange.
Yep.
Super color vision is a rare body feature only some women have. This is fascinating. And this is one of those things that we don't know until you talk to people about it. Like, if you've seen colors the way that you see them, you're not going to question that maybe that's not the way that everybody else sees them. You just know that that's purple and whatever, you know? And I find it fascinating to know that some people have a bigger range of color. And me and Dusty have noticed that we see colors differently for sure. Like, there's certain colors that we have debated back and forth. But I've had, interestingly enough though, on some, when it came down to the fish, and I asked other people, they agreed with me, which is interesting. So what's going on with that? I don't know. It's like, no, that's definitely orange. And you're like, it's yellow.
I just
I'm like,
see
it's
better than
literally
everyone.
not.
That's all I can say.
Maybe, but maybe
Everyone's blind.
I don't know. It's very, very interesting. It's greens and yellows,
Yeah.
and it's oranges and yellows that we see differently. And maybe we see other things differently. We just,
So it's somewhere
Yeah,
on the
who knows?
yellow spectrum.
it's somewhere in the yellow spectrum that we divide
Yeah.
on that one. It's very, very, very interesting.
Yeah.
But some people can see like 100 million colors. So it's called tetrachromats, where they actually have 4 cones. Normally we have 3 types of cones. And that helps you communicate with the brain, and then that's how we see colors, is from our cones in our eyes. But some people have extra cones, and actually I'm wondering if Stephanie has extra cones. She also has the ability to take in more light than I'm able to take in, because when we were looking at the auroras, I couldn't see anything at points. There was times that I would see a little bit pop in, but she was seeing shit when I couldn't see anything. I was seeing it on that camera, but I physically couldn't see shit. And she was not only just seeing the gray haze, she was seeing the colors. And that was crazy. And she could see colors you weren't seeing.
Yeah.
Also. You could see more than I can. So we had like, she was like, the best, you're second best. And I'm just like, psh, I'm taking photos because I can't see a goddamn thing.
I got nothing. Yeah.
My eyes are terrible, which is too bad. So I don't know. I can't trust anything that I see as far as with all the colors and everything. I'm like, that's how I'm seeing it. But no, I can see, I feel like, at least to my understanding, I see colors fine. But I don't have anything to compare it to, so maybe they're not fine. I don't know.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Ocular albinism is also a very rare feature that affects the eyes. So, as an albino, it can affect like the hair and skin and the eye pigmentation. So, people with ocular albinism may appear similar or slightly lighter than that of other family members. So maybe it's not like full blown albino, but it's a little bit. And then they're saying although albinism is a rare body feature to have, the ocular albinism is even rarer. Interesting. And they said it's estimated between 1 in 20,000 and 1 in 50,000 have the ocular albinism, which doesn't just alter the color of the person's irises, but it also causes reduced vision, sensitivity to light, and other more serious eye conditions.
So it's like powder.
Yes.
Really powder.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
So that's rare shit.
Oh, that's weird.
Also, this is very strange. Elizabeth Taylor. Now, I know people have always said she had purple eyes, and apparently that is not true. And that's a myth. That it was contacts or whatever. But this is not what this is about. We are talking about her here. But it is very interesting. It is a double row of eyelashes. Some people have a double row of eyelashes.
Weird.
Yeah. And Elizabeth Taylor did, in fact, have that.
Double eyelashes
It's an
is really
extra
weird.
row.
Okay.
And it emerges from the ducts and the glands in your eyelids. So, but they said there are some things that can be a pain as a result of that. So your hair is growing in the oil glands, which is weird, and it can cause tearing, eye irritation, and in some cases negatively impact a person's vision.
Yeah, it seems not good.
No, that's weird. Here, let me see if I can pull up a close-up of her.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if it's possible to be able to see. No, you can't really even freaking see that. That's a tough one, because I thought it would be really cool if we could see it in detail. I'm looking, I'm trying, don't worry. And I do want to talk about the violet eyes, because it doesn't make much sense.
Oh, that's interesting. So the gene that causes it is the FOXC2 gene, and they think that may be an inspiration for how the term foxy became.
Interesting.
Used. There's
GG. So you looked up the rabbit blood and it was not good. Interesting, because of the lab testing, that makes sense. But you're like, I just looked it up. Don't look it up. I'm probably gonna look it up then. Not on stream, but I will.
looking up what?
The rabbit blood thing.
Oh.
He's like, hold on, I'm gonna look into the rabbit blood. Wait, I looked it up. Don't look it up. Probably pretty like gross images.
Probably. There you go.
Oh, that's a really bizarre photo.
It's a very weird photo, but oh wait, it's not Elizabeth Taylor, but it's a girl sharing that she's got the same thing.
Gotta go over. Okay.
That's what I was trying to do.
Okay. It's weird. That's a lot of eyelashes. Okay. It's weird. It's like bushy.
Yeah. So yeah, it's not like a row. Why?
It's good enough.
Why will I not move anymore? But yeah, it's like bushy, like even all these up in here, like that. That's not a row of eyelashes. Weird. That's a weird one.
Gigi, it's 1950s stuff. 1950s the rabbit blood. Now you're freaking me out. I don't know. No, I'm really curious.
Wow, that needs a comb. Yeah, it kind of does.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. But yeah, there's the whole thing where they were saying she had purple eyes. She does not have purple eyes. They were a very deep blue, apparently. Let's see. Really? It's just not gonna pull that up at all? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what's
Well, it's
going
not that
on with
important.
the
Oh,
scrolling.
shit.
It's not letting us slide around on the
That's
screen
weird.
like normal. I don't know why.
Well, either way.
But weird.
That's kind of
Okay.
cool. I wish people had purple eyes. Well, that eyes real. Let's just look that up. Just so we know.
Yeah, it was listed.
It's a form of blue eyes.
yeah.
Requires a very specific type of structure to the iris to produce the type of light scattering of melanin pigment to create the violet appearance. Blue eyes are a recent arrival in human history. Interesting.
Oh, DG. Yeah, the woman on the National Geographic cover. That girl, she was like, I think she was like 10 or 11 when they took that photo with just her striking eyes. And they actually went back, I want to say it was 25 or 30 years later, and found her again and photographed her again and showed, like, actually it wasn't even that long, but because of where she lives and how hard life was, she had aged a lot more than what it seemed like she would have. So it showed the effect of stresses and life stresses on the body, which was really interesting.
Yeah, that photo is gorgeous. I love that we all know exactly
Yeah. Oh yeah.
what you're talking about.
Famous photo, man.
Wow. Alf, I'm so glad you're here. I was totally just thinking about you distinctly, wondering where you've been.
Yeah.
I was chatting with Roxy earlier on a video chat, and we were just talking about you, and I was like, where the fuck have you been? And I'm so glad that you're here.
Yeah.
So,
Hi, Alf.
No need
Welcome
to feel
in.
bad, but I'm glad that you're here.
Yeah, thanks for that resub.
Yes, thank you
Appreciate
so
you.
much.
Yeah.
Awesome. 13-month streak.
So,
Cool. Appreciate ya. I hope
okay.
all is well for you. I hope you're saucing it up.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, what else is weird?
Okay. All right. What else is weird? We're going to find out. Super tasters.
Oh,
Have you heard of super tasters?
no. They're super smellers.
This is so weird.
Okay.
Some people have enlarged taste buds that causes them to have more extreme sense of taste.
Okay.
Makes them more sensitive. So, like things that are bitter, sweet, or salty, they're definitely more sensitive to those very potent flavors. It says they have more pain receptors than non-tasters and generally do not like spicy food. They're also less likely to smoke and don't typically like alcohol. Unfortunately, they also don't consume as many vegetables because vegetables tend to have a bitter taste. So, this is weird. But they also tend to have superior cardiovascular profiles and a lower BMI.
Okay.
So, super tasters don't love sweet and fatty foods. So, those things might be well linked.
Okay.
So, some people can taste more. But you know what? Those people probably have no idea that that's not how everybody tastes things.
Yeah.
How would you know? Unless you talked about it, unless somebody told you something, doctor, or you looked up something. It's so weird.
That's true. Oh yeah,
I've
Alf,
heard
you
of
guys
the-
have been going
the
all over everywhere.
Super palette. I wonder what that is. I'm going to look that up.
But yeah, Alf, you guys have been going to all kinds of shows. I keep seeing your pictures roll by of your booths and stuff, which is super cool.
Yeah, that's so cool. I'm so glad you guys have been
And
rocking
you got
it
the
out.
Portland Hot Sauce Expo coming up in 2 weeks. Cool. That's awesome.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I'm so glad the sauce business is going well.
I'm so happy for you. That is so awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, it's the same thing. Super Palate is Super Taster. Same kind of thing. That is so strange. They have more taste buds
Weird.
than other people.
Okay.
And they report that foods like broccoli, cabbage, spinach, grapefruit, and other coffee taste very bitter. So it just totally changes the way that they taste food. It's super strange.
I would agree that those are bitter.
Are you super taster?
Mm-mm.
More on the bitter end of things, but if it's like they don't even eat it because it's so intensely bitter.
Yeah.
Okay, so last thing I think on this list. Oh no, it's not the last thing, but another thing on this list. The rare feature of unbreakable bones. This is so bizarre. There is a mutation of the LRP5 gene, which they have high bone density and are not at risk of developing osteoporosis. And there are very few people who have been identified with this mutation.
The very few people, all from one family from Connecticut.
Weird.
They're like the only ones. And the only one negative symptom, it says, is difficulty staying afloat while swimming. Yeah, because
because you're
heavy.
that dense. That's so interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's so strange. The bones are so dense that there is no history of fractures with it. That they have the strongest bones on the whole planet. In fact, their bones are so strong, scientists began attempting to create a drug similar to the mutation in an effort to treat and even prevent osteoporosis.
Nice.
That is so weird.
Okay.
And then the absence of wisdom teeth is a truly rare body feature.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Dusty ain't got no wisdom teeth.
Never got them. But they're apparently there, though. They just have never broken through or grown or formed, I guess. But my mom only
If
had
they haven't
two.
formed, then they're not.
Well, there's
there.
there's still like clouds that show up in the x-rays. Like in the x-rays, there's something there, but they haven't broken through. But my mom only had two.
But at 41, if they have not come through, and if they're not fully formed, it's not like a tooth in the x-ray, then maybe there is something and it just never fully formed. But I wouldn't say that you have wisdom teeth that just haven't broken through. I don't think that makes sense unless they did an x-ray and said, we see your wisdom teeth with this little cloud. I don't know. I'm not going to call that a tooth. Are you going to call it a tooth?
I don't think it's a tooth. I don't think it's a full tooth.
Which is interesting. It's a rare thing.
DG, yeah, I have not unleashed my full power. I'm kind of hoping that whenever I'm like 87 and I lose my teeth, that my wisdom teeth will finally come in, where it'll be like, oh, I got backups, you know, be like a shark. Yeah, like a shark. You lose teeth, you get new ones, you know.
I still have two in my mouth, and one's gonna have to get kicked out soon.
Boo.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sucks.
But yeah, my mom only ever got two of hers.
That's so
She
interesting.
didn't.
I wonder about your dad. Do you know?
He had his. He
All
got-
four? Okay.
yeah.
An estimated 30% of the population lack wisdom teeth altogether.
Hmm.
It's weird.
Okay.
It's weird, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a bunch of weird shit.
Bunch of weird shit.
That's a bunch of weird shit. So, very rare body features. So, I want to talk about what made me decide to do this theme.
Okay. Oh, Sarah. Sorry, we actually just had this conversation with Buttery. We meant to turn the redemptions off since we're doing a deep dive. So we're not
I
doing
forgot to do that when I
redemptions,
set the computer up.
But
we're going to
we'll
refund you the points. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Now that Sammy showed me how to refund those, we'll refund it. But yeah, and we will.
I'm sorry about that. I'm
Well,
going to go
we'll do it.
and Shut those off so people don't have more issues. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Sorry. Yeah, that was our fault.
Yeah,
Don't worry about
it was on me. I should have done that beforehand. Yeah, when we do weird news, it's totally fine. But whenever we're staying on task, we don't do that.
DG. Meanwhile, a Florida man was found with 69 wisdom teeth, all from different people.
Gross. I know. I'm so sorry that you're dead tonight.
Yeah,
I'm so sorry.
you're not feeling
Sarah's
well.
feeling really bad right now.
Yeah.
Sarah has the Rona.
Sorry.
I'm so sorry. But we're going to keep you entertained, so it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so next we're going to talk about the whole thing that prompted this entire thing. Maybe you guys have heard about it because I just heard about it a couple of days ago, and apparently it had been circulating a few years ago in 2020. People started talking about it, but I never heard of it, and I've seen it posted a couple times. Have you heard about people that can smell ants?
I've smelled a couple uncles in my life, but never smelled ants.
Apparently, many people can smell ants, and the different kinds of ants smell different. The people that can smell ants are like, what do you mean people can't smell ants? That's fucking weird. And the people that can't smell ants are like, what the fuck do you mean you can smell ants?
Yeah.
It's very divided. But this is something that until it was a topic of conversation, nobody really seemed to question whether other people can smell things and how we perceive ants. Like, it's like something that you won't come up in conversation very often.
Yeah.
They smell like coconut. You can smell the ants, DG.
Can you smell ants? Do you smell coconut ants?
Sarah, can you smell ants? Princess, what are we doing? Everybody.
Sarah can
Alf,
smell
can you
anything
smell
right
ants? Have you guys heard of this thing? Go mash any ant with the tip of your finger. Ew, I don't want to do that. And sniff it. Coconut. All day. But that's the thing. Some people genetically can't smell it.
Yeah, I've never smelled ants in my lifetime.
And I wonder if you were like that
Smashed a lot of
close. If
ants.
it was like I smashed an ant and it was like in my nose hole, maybe so. But people are saying they can smell ants from afar.
Yeah.
Like, somebody was mentioning that their kid could smell like ant hills. They would be like at the park and be like, there's ants over there. Don't go that way, you know? And they could smell that there was ants.
Weird.
Straight up. Okay, Sarah cannot smell ants either. Princess, ants or no ants? I need to know. Can you smell them? We're taking a poll. This is
There's
so
a ton of them.
fucking
DG
weird.
says yes. So DG, you're one of the ones that can smell them. That's not normal. That's
Yeah.
not a normal thing. No one can smell ants.
No, not true. Some people can
Some
smell
people can
ants.
smell ants.
Some people cannot smell them. It's a genetic thing. They cannot smell them.
Nope. I've lived around a lot of ants in my life. I've never smelled an ant.
So I love it. DG's so stuck on it. Like, yes, I mean, just get near them. You'll fucking totally smell them. But that is a special thing.
Yeah.
That's what prompted this whole conversation where I was like, what do you mean? And I asked
Yeah.
Dusty about it because I had never thought about it before. It never crossed my mind. I grew up in Florida with all the ants. We had all the ants in the house, out the house, all the ants. And I never specifically noticed it. But I'm not around ants anymore. There's barely any ants out here. It's very rare to see ants.
Yeah.
So now I'm wondering, did I smell them and it didn't really process to me?
Especially if they smell like coconut. They just smell like the sunscreen.
Yeah. Fucking A. Well, people were saying they either smell like blue cheese. Certain kinds of ants smell more like blue cheese, which is disgusting. And then some of them smell more acidic. And people can like smell the different kinds of ants. But interesting, DG saying coconut.
Yeah. And yeah, smashing. I mean, I've literally eaten a mouthful of those little sugar ants before, and there's no smell. And they don't taste sweet. They're very bitter. I don't know why they call them sugar ants. But yeah, I've smashed a lot of ants in my days. I've dug into mountain like ant hills and made, fire ants fight and done all kinds of boy things with ants, but never smelled an ant.
So you have the gene that says no
Yeah, I got the
on
no
the
gene.
ant smelling. I do not think I have the ant smelling gene. I've never acknowledged it before. Next time I see ants, I was making a joke. I want to go out in the yard and try to find some ants and like to see if I can smell them. But
Yeah.
to my recollection, I've never noticed that I can.
Yeah.
But little did I know up until a couple days ago that this was a fucking thing that some people can and some people can't, and each person on each side cannot believe that there's people that can do the other thing.
Yeah.
So
Princess, use diatomaceous earth. Yeah, well, we use that on our cat for fleas.
yes,
And yeah, like the cilantro thing with the cilantro and the soap. It probably is, but it's a weird one that
that's a
never
genetic
talked
thing
about.
too. Yeah, the cilantro thing where I just don't like cilantro. I just think it tastes like shit.
Yeah, it's just
I don't
not
like the
good.
flavor of it. I don't have the soap thing. It doesn't taste like soap to me. It just doesn't taste good. But I know some people that do have the soap thing. So to other people that don't have the soap thing, they'd be like, "What? Just cilantro's delicious. What are you talking about?" You know. And then people are like, "Yo, to me, genetically, it tastes like fucking soap." You know, and it's hard to explain that to another person when they have no frame of reference whatsoever. So even with the ant thing, see, you're like 100% smells like fresh dirt. Oh, the rain. When the
does,
rain is
yeah.
coming, yeah. But yeah, it's very, very interesting. So DG, you're on that team where you're like, what do you mean you can't smell ants? They smell like these things, you know. It's interesting. I'm glad that there is an ant smeller in the fucking chat right now because I was
Yeah,
wondering
that's awesome.
if there was going to be, knowing that me and you don't.
Yeah.
I was really curious if there was going to be anybody in here that can. And what are the percentages? I mean, they haven't done big polls on this before.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they even know which is more prominent.
Yeah.
Let me see. Let me type it in. Maybe someone's done a study on it. Can
Oh yeah,
more-
Princess, I'm with you. The smell of rain is amazing. One of my most favorite smells is the smell of rain on hot asphalt. I really like the way it smells, specifically when it hits hot asphalt. I think my most favorite smell is the smell of, whenever you get in your car for the first time in the summer and you turn your AC on, and that smell that the AC of your car has. I love that smell. I don't know why. I've always loved it, and I always get right up against the vent. I think it's just the dust that settles in the air vents, basically. But but I like it.
Some people think that the ability to smell formic acid is genetic, which is what the ants are producing, like asparagus. That might be why some people are more sensitive to this particular ant smell than others. Asparagus. Can some people not smell asparagus? What? Okay. How rare is the ability to smell ants? This wasn't well known until recently when it became the subject of a debate on TikTok and Twitter. Twitter poll indicated 27% of respondents have this ability. Some ants are known to be super pungent. Their names reflect it. So, from the small study that they have done thus far, it appears that about 27% of people can smell the ants. So it appears to be a smaller amount of people that can smell them versus people that can't, which is what I was really curious.
Yeah. So DG says there's got a super palette too. Didn't want to throw it out there early, but I can also smell like a bloodhound. Okay.
Interesting.
So your sense of smell and taste are heightened.
This is fantastic.
That's
This is
interesting.
so interesting.
My smell sense is my weakest one. I don't really smell anything, except apparently I've got like a nose for a litter box. Like I can smell cat shit. That's what I got. It's like the only smell I ever get, and
Interesting.
other than that, I don't really smell too much. Even whenever like in like meditations and stuff, and they're like have you focus in on each sense individually, whenever they go through and they're like, what can you like what's the thing you can hear most prominently, and like what's closer, and what's the furthest away sound you can hear, and you go through all the senses. When they get to smell, I'm like, yeah, I got no smell. I smell the absence of smell. Air. What does air smell like? I got that. And then like taste. Whenever they're like, "What taste do you have?" And I'm like, I don't know. A vague spit flavor. It's kind
Dude, this is interesting. I just looked up the asparagus thing. It's specific to asparagus pee smell.
Oh.
So DG saying asparagus makes your pee pee stanky. Not for me. It's interesting. It's a thing. A small percentage of people cannot smell the odor in asparagus urine. Findings show that 40% of participants agreed that they could smell asparagus pee. 60% said they could not and were labeled as asparagus anosmic. Anosmic. I don't know what that means, I guess. No smell. Whatever. So that's really interesting.
Yeah. I mean,
Do you smell asparagus pee?
I have. It's
I've
not
heard of people
common.
saying that, but I've never noticed it.
Like, it's gotta be. I mean, it's only coming from my own. I've never smelled anyone else's, but
Right.
like a couple times I have. But it's like if I eat a lot of it, and then it's probably based on what else my body's doing, like other body chemistry stuff going on too. But I have once or twice, I guess. But
Okay. Well, I don't know. I've never noticed that ever.
yeah,
Nope. So maybe I have the
to me, it's just a stronger
smell.
pee smell. Like it just smells like a stronger pee.
That's so interesting. DG, I'm so fascinated at your heightened smell. Oh, Mom, I thought everyone did. Yikes. So you do. You can.
Yeah.
You can totally smell it. Huh.
Yep. No, not really.
Mom, can you smell ants?
Yeah.
Mama, can you smell ants? I need to know. This is emergency.
Have you ever smelled ants?
It's so fucking weird.
DG, yeah. What about broccoli farts? Yeah. It smells like a fart.
This is so weird.
Yeah.
No way. Mom is in the no ant smelling category. Okay.
Nope, no ants.
Okay. And nobody else knows. But DG's the only one so far out of the chat who is contributing right now. We got ant smeller. So it's interesting because if you have a super palate, so if you're a super taster, I wonder if that contributes to your heightened sense of smell as well, if they're hand in hand, where if super tasters can smell the asparagus pea, can smell the ants, and just have a more heightened sense of taste and smell, generally speaking. Or if you just got lucky and you got all of them. I don't fucking know. Oh, weird. You could tell when your wife is menstruating when she pees. Wow, you do have a really good sense of smell. And Mom,
Weird, yeah.
you smell random cigarettes, though. Like in places where there shouldn't be cigarettes at all. That's weird. No, that's not too much. That's really interesting. Honestly, I'm really intrigued at your super nose right now. Okay, Princess says, I have a sensitive sense of smell and I can catch things others cannot smell or detect. But I don't know if that's a special sense. I just know I could smell something burning in my car that no one else could find, sadly. We lost that car because it went habemus. I don't know what that means.
Habemus popum?
Habemus popum.
Okay.
I don't get the reference, but
Isn't it habeas corpus or something like that?
I don't know. In your apartment.
It's
Well, Ma,
Latin.
it might be, maybe people smoking outside. I know they're not supposed to smoke outside, but maybe they are. Maybe
Yeah.
it's wafting in.
Or in their apartment.
Or maybe it's like phantom cigarette smoke from back in the day when you used to smoke. Or maybe it's ghost. Maybe it's a ghost. Because we have smelled cigar smoke or pipe smoke for sure when there was ghosty stuff going on with my family. It was interesting. And we all caught up, me, my grandmother, my mom, and my dad, all of us. And there was nobody around. Nobody was smoking cigars. And it was weird because my mom and dad were sitting right next to each other. My mom would smell it. My dad couldn't smell it. And then he would smell it and she couldn't smell it. Sometimes they'd smell it at the same time. And it would come and go.
Weird.
It was very interesting. It was very distinct when we had smelled it there, and it was my mom's. Was it grandfather? Was the one that smoked? I believe Sam. It's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it could be coming through the vents. People might smoke inside. Maybe, I don't know. I always try to think of a logical explanation, but you never know. But yeah, weird. Being able to smell more things than you would think. Like with Princess, you being able to smell things and nobody else is smelling it too. That's weird. Yeah, weird. But yeah, I didn't even know about the asparagus thing, but reading the thing about the ants, it brought that up, and I was like, what are you talking about? So, okay, you know what? I'm gonna Google. What else?
Oh,
What?
Princess, I get it. With the white smoke with the Pope. I get it.
Oh. Okay. Let's see. We're talking about ants. Things that you thought were normal but are actually genetic quirks. Okay, this is right. We're talking about. Okay, so coriander tasting like soap, for sure. We just talked about that. Smelling ants. We're talking about that right now. Hitchhiker's thumb. Having a hitchhiker's thumb is, it going backwards, like so. You got that too. Okay, that's another thing, which is interesting because you're not hypermobile in any joints, but you have the hitchhiker's thumb.
It's just broken. Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah.
Because I attribute that to the fact that all of my fingers do that.
Yeah.
So.
Which makes sense.
Which, I mean, of course, it totally makes sense.
Yeah.
It's weird. Okay. Yeah, it's so interesting how chemistry can make people that are built so similar to be so extremely different. I know.
Yeah.
It's so cool. So I was really excited about doing this whole episode tonight because I'm like, how is this? So we're all humans and we all have these very similar components, but when it comes down to it, there's these little teeny tiny things that make us really unique. And some of us are more basic with our things that are a little bit more standard, but some of us have some like really weird anomalous things where it's like, oh, this is a rare thing, got it. This is a weird thing, I got that too. Like, what the fuck? So that makes it even more rare if you put it together. Like, okay, if one person has all these rare things, how rare is that?
Yeah.
You know, like
Who is
no
the
one's even doing the math
rarest
on
person
that.
in the world?
It's fucking weird. Widow's Peak is also a very rare thing.
I think I've got a little one. Yeah, you can see it right there.
You do.
Yeah.
Yeah, you totally do. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
How rare is a widow's peak?
I don't think it's very rare.
Oh yeah, actually, in one of the other things, it gave the exacts on that. 33% do. So a third of people have it. Okay. All right. Oh, my dad has this. This is so interesting. Autosomal dominant compelling heliothermic outburst syndrome. It means you sneeze at bright lights.
Oh, I have that.
You do?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, if I walk out into like bright sun, or like if I have to sneeze and it's not coming out, I'll look at a light. But yeah, the
Really?
sun used to do it when I was young. I'd walk outside
That's
in the
so
sun and make me
cool.
sneeze.
It doesn't do that for me, but I know it happened to my dad, and I never really asked people about that.
Yeah, I never really thought about it. I thought that was a thing. But yeah, if I have like a tickle in my nose and I can't get it to come out, like I know a lot of people just kind of like look up like they're sneezing, but I'm looking at lights. I'm looking for a brighter light to look at.
That is so interesting. What about you guys? Any of you guys in chat? Do you sneeze when you look at lights? Can I get Dusty checked for being an alien? I mean, there's speculation.
Yep.
There's been speculation for quite some
We're still looking into that.
But that, yes. We're still waiting to get the results
Yeah,
back
the
on
results
that
are
one.
still out.
Oh, good, Sarah. I'm so glad your fever broke. That is awesome.
Oh, that's good.
I am so
That's
glad.
great. That's great.
Thank goodness. So sorry you don't feel good. That's cool though. Learning about it's called the Achu syndrome.
That you said.
Yeah. So you have
Autosomal
that.
dominant compelling helio-ophthalmic outburst syndrome. That is a. I'm
It's a
glad we
mouthful there.
made that an acronym.
Yes. All right. Now it's talking about blue eyes again, and they said that they're more sensitive to light. Didn't know that. Okay. Cleft chin, also called the butt chin. Cleft chin is a slight fissure running down the middle of the chin.
The butt chin.
And apparently that is a bizarre, thing. I mean, it's you don't see them very often, I guess, so that makes sense.
Nope.
Okay. So I'm seeing if there's any other smelly things that we don't know about. I'm really curious. Those are the main ones that are coming up.
Yeah.
Ants and asparagus pea.
Ants and
That's it?
asparagus pea.
That's so weird.
Yeah. It's kind of a weird thing. Okay.
Right? You never heard of it either, right? It's so weird. The sneezing thing, it's so weird. There's so much weird shit that we do and have. Another thing that is interesting, it's called Taurus palatinus. How do you pronounce that? Palatinus. Taurus palatinus. It's a weird one. I think we've talked about it at some point. It's come up on here before. An abnormal bone growth on the roof of your mouth. I was born with it. So, average people, I guess, like the roof of your mouth, it's like a rainbow. And mine's not a rainbow. It goes like this. Like that. So, when my mouth is closed, the roof of my mouth is touching my tongue. All the time. And even so much so that my tongue ring, it shifts to the side and there's like a little indentation in the little soft tissue over the bone from where my tongue ring has sat the whole time, but my tongue ring can't go straight up like that. It has to shift to the side of the bump. And I didn't know that was even like, I don't know, I didn't question that other people's mouths didn't have that. How the fuck would I know? But a dentist brought it up when I was younger, and he was like, yeah, about like 30% of the population has this. And I was like, so other people, what are other people's like mouths like? And he didn't have it, and he was like, look, he showed me the roof of his mouth, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, what? So I had no idea, and that's why I love talking about this shit, is bringing up things where it's like, maybe you don't even know. So Dusty has a small one. My mom has one as well. I've got a big one. It's pretty big, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty big.
Yep.
And
I mean, the fact that it affects your tongue ring means it comes way further forward than mine would.
oh yeah, it's weird. There's a ball holder. There's a ball indentation
Sweet.
in it where the ball just like sits. But I can't take very big bites of food. I'm a very slow eater, which is good for digestion anyway, but I don't do it for that reason. Is that I can only take very small bites. And it's ridiculous. And I acknowledge, as I'm cutting my food up sometimes, I acknowledge how ridiculous it is about how small these bites need to be. It's like little, like if you're feeding like a 3-year-old, like, okay, take this little tiny part of a thing. Like a lot of times I'm cutting shit up really fucking small, because if I just take up what would be considered a normal bite, even though you have the little bump, it doesn't really take up much space in your mouth. Mm-hmm. It's just fused weird. But I could not take bites the size that Dusty, I would just be like I couldn't even chew. Like, I don't even know how it's possible. So I end up taking like lots of little bites of stuff, which is good because I get to savor food. I get to savor the experience. But it's like full blown, like spatially inside my mouth, there's not enough space for larger bites. So for you guys, do any of you guys have a bump on the roof of your mouth? Any of you guys? I'll show you a photo. Hold on.
DG, yeah. No, she's definitely not a speed eater.
Definitely not a speed eater. But if you want to have a pudding eating contest, then fucking don't even worry.
Oh, yeah, Princess, what's your weird mouth thing?
Oh, I totally want a weird mouth thing, yes. So that's a pretty good representation. That's not even that big though.
It's hard to see.
That one kind of.
Those are weird.
I mean, that's what it's pretty much like, I think. So, okay, I'm going to show you this. It's going to be pretty gross. But at least I'm not showing you my own.
It's a little lumpy, but
Yeah, no, that's more lumpy than mine. I'm trying to keep it accurate.
trying to keep it normal looking.
Well, I'm just trying to, I guess, showcase what I got
Yeah.
going on here.
But yeah, those look like tumors. Like
Actually, they say some of them are tumors they can develop later in life.
Oh.
You got a fucking tumor. Okay, that pretty much, I feel like that kind of illustrates what my fucking roof of my mouth looks like. This is not my mouth. These are not my teeth. Although my teeth are not much better. But it's like this. Like the roof of my mouth. It's like a beep. It's just like a giant.
He's got like an ulcer on his. That's not good.
I know, no, that's not good. It's not good. Yeah, it's weird. It's super weird. Wow, that looks like a dick. That looks like a dick mouth.
It totally does.
Whoa,
You got a dick mouth.
dude. That is super fucking weird. Yeah,
Oh,
it's just a weird
Sarah's
thing.
got a tiny mouth. Sarah, you're just tiny though. That also fits you. You should have a tiny mouth. If you had a large mouth, it would be very weird.
Yeah. Okay, so me and you both, we have tiny mouths, I guess. Okay. Yes, this is a getting to know chat night. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
I'm loving it. Like, what kind of weird shit does everybody have? Because
Get to know your
nobody.
chatters.
I mean, at this point, I'm ceasing to believe that there's normal anything. I mean,
Yeah.
there's things that are more standard and less rare, but when you think about it, like, how many people have, like, perfect form with none of these weird things? You know, it seems like that some people have a lot of bizarre traits, superpowers with certain things that go places they're not supposed to go, senses that a lot of other people don't have. It's really interesting. Okay, Princess says, I had only 23 teeth in my mouth as a grown-up because my mouth was too small, and I had to have 6 teeth pulled before they did braces. Damn. Also had the wisdom teeth out, and I lost another tooth. So, another member of the Tiny Mouth Club. Fucking A.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow, we're all tiny mouth people. That's so interesting. So speaking of the weird bump on the roof of the mouth, my mom has it, not as big as mine, but she has it. But she also has additional extra bone growth on the bottom part, on both sides. These little bumps. So when she goes and gets X-rays done at the dentist, it like smushes on them, and she's bummed about that. But it's really weird because, like I said, I never knew that it was just not a normal thing. Who the fuck knew? Same thing with my hypermobility. I just thought that was what people's bodies did, and it's not. Which actually, I wonder how rare that is. Because it's not super rare. But okay, that's Ehlers-Danlos. Okay, I'm not talking about that. Thank God I don't have that. Like I said, I got tested for that when I realized I was super bendy. Joint hypermobility syndrome. Just curious, because that's a weird one. Rarity. Is anybody else bendy? Has anybody else got hypermobility?
No, I'm real the opposite of that. Oh, DJ said I can judge craft beer and wine like a champion, but it swells my taste buds and takes about a day to recover. Wow, no way, really? What about it makes your taste buds swell? Is it just like the acidity in the wine or something? Or alcohol specifically? What is it that swells your taste buds about it?
Yeah, please answer that if you want, because that's really interesting. Okay, so probably about 1 in 5 people have the hypermobility. Oh, wait, this one says 1 in 30 people. That's kind of rare, actually.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different answers on this one. Nobody is. So this one's saying 3% of people. This one's saying, in children at least, 10 to 15%. Nobody knows.
Yeah, and there's so many different, like that says hypermobile EDS and hypermobility spectrum disorders. So there's going to be a wide spectrum. So being able to narrow that down is really difficult.
Right. Yeah, because a lot of my joints are, but not every joint, which is strange. Like my elbows, I don't think my elbows
I don't think so either.
are. They
Yeah,
don't
the fact
look
that
like
this
it.
is flat, that's not.
Yeah, I think my elbows are good.
Because a lot of people
But at
like
the
their
same
elbows
time, like, I don't know, like, what regular elbow's supposed to feel like, so maybe it's not, I don't know. But my knees go backwards.
No, I mean, I've seen elbows that, like, bend backwards like our thumbs are doing, like the elbow flips.
Okay, they don't have that. My knees go backwards, though. My spine's hypermobile. My hips are hypermobile. My fingers are definitely, and toes. So, a lot of the joints, but not, like, every joint. So maybe there's that scale of how many joints. Do you have 5 joints? Do you have 8 joints? Like, every fucking joint in your body. I have no idea. I used to have hypermobile thumbs, but since all the problems from computer, it's gone. Because I used, does it cause mild carpal tunnel? Oh, that's so interesting. That sucks, dude.
Oh, you can do the pretzel leg thing? That's fun.
Oh, that is kind of fun. That's neat.
I can clasp my hands behind my back. That's about all I got.
You want to do it? You did it.
That's awkward sitting like this.
Oh. Okay.
Nobody would be able to see it. It wouldn't matter.
Okay. I don't think my shoulders are, because I dislocated my shoulders a long time ago. And I don't think that those guys go in. But I don't know. Maybe it does go in weird things. That's the biggest problem, is we only have one body. So we only know what our body does. So it's really hard to know if it's just like the normal thing, or is it something different, unless it's obvious. Like my fingers going back, like that's obvious, like duh, you know. But like weird things, like I don't know, knees going back a little bit, or maybe my shoulders go farther than normal people's shoulders, but I don't have normal people's shoulders, so I don't fucking know.
Fair enough.
So it's so interesting. It's so fascinating. I love having these conversations. It's so fun. So okay, so we made it through the weird roof of the mouth thing.
Yep.
Let's see. Well, we got another list here, and I want to talk about something really interesting. Okay, what is the fingerprint pattern? This is really kind of cool. I want everybody to look at their fingers. Apparently, there are common fingerprint patterns. So 65% of people have this swoop kind of thing, which I have the swoop.
I can't tell. Are we looking at thumb, first finger? Where are we looking?
I don't know. Pick a winner. First finger.
Pointer finger.
Pointer finger. Yep, pointer finger. We've got the little swirl, or not a swirl, but it's a swoop. And then 30% of people have this swirl kind of business.
I got a swirl.
You got a swirl?
Yeah.
Cool. Let me see this one. Oh, yeah, look at mine. It's totally different.
Oh, yeah, you got the swoopy.
Whoa.
Weird.
Cool.
Okay.
And then 5% of people have this weird thing. It's kind of like a triangle.
Oh, okay, it is all of them. All of them do the same pattern. Weird. Never really thought about that. Yep. I got overlay swirl. You got a swoop on all your fingers.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That one's got a swirl on that one. But the majority of them.
They're all pretty swoopy, yeah.
Pretty sweet. What about the thumbs? Swoopy.
Swoop.
Swoopy.
Okay.
Okay. But this one, this is interesting. Only 5% of the population has this, where it's like flat lines. And then it has that, so it's like a triangle shape.
Sarah's got the first one. You got the swoop. Sarah's got a swoop.
Okay, we're in the swoop zone. Me and you, Sarah.
Princess. I know. I had to pull out my flashlight. I was like, I can't see anything. I don't have fingerprints, it turns out.
I've never looked at it like that before. I'm loving this shit where I'm like, oh, I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
How about this, you know? And I was like, whoa. And then the palm of the hand thing is interesting. And who knew that you had that weird palm of the hand thing?
Yep.
It's really, it's really neat.
Yeah. I always thought it was interesting that the creases on my hands meet up. And they continue from one hand to the other.
Oh,
do yours do that? Do you have a pattern? Oh, you got the one line that goes over. Okay.
I mean, it means, yeah.
Yeah.
They're very,
so you got one line.
It's very symmetrical.
They are very symmetrical. Mine are not.
Yeah.
Weird.
Interesting.
Yeah. Palms are weird.
Okay. So yeah, that's super weird.
Okay.
Now we know. So everybody's got different things.
DJ says there's a theory about fingernail patterns and heart disease.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. For another day.
I like that. Okay.
Okay.
Palmaris longus is a long palm muscle that was used by our ancestors to climb trees. The muscle's not used anymore, but there are people still born with it. If you're curious to find out if you have it, place your palm on a flat surface and touch your thumb with your pinky finger. You will see this muscle pop out of your wrist if you possess this rare trait. No.
Oh, it comes out on the back side of it. Yeah, no.
Oh, wait. Oh, wait. That's like the tendon.
That's the tendon.
But that's not
under
the
the
muscle.
thumb. This is on
Okay.
the outside, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's on the outside. That's weird.
Oh, Sarah's creases on her hands match up too.
All your creases match? Sweet.
Okay, so nobody has palmaris longus.
Palmaris longus. Yeah, that's...
Okay.
I just heard about that one recently. It's weird.
Okay, back with the heterochromia.
Seen it.
This is the
Tesla gene.
The sleeping gene, yep. Da Vinci, Tesla. Yep. It says they may have faster sleep cycles and accomplish more during work time. So, normal person is recommended to have at least 7 hours, but people with the special trait can sleep between 4 and 6 hours. So, fucking A. And only 5% of the population have this condition. I don't know how you get tested for that, but I'd be super curious to find out if I actually have the gene thing or if it's just something I've adapted to over time. Okay. We've got gray, green, or amber eyes. A tooth gap. That is a 0.25% of the population has that.
What about a middle tooth? How many people have a middle tooth?
Oh, don't fucking know.
One.
This is an actual photo of the super taster.
Oh, weird. With
tongue.
Yeah.
DG, does your tongue look like that?
Do you have larger or more taste buds?
So fascinating to me. I wish I had that. That sounds awesome. And then we're talking about the layers of eyelashes again.
Eyelashes. Seen it.
Yeah. Oh, the middle tooth hits different. Tom Cruise. All right, the Morton's toe. That's what I was talking about before.
Yeah.
Ambidextrous. So, okay. He says he does have large taste buds. So fascinating.
Okay.
So to be fully ambidextrous is to perform tasks with both hands equally. So in this particular condition, he does not have a dominant hand to perform activities.
It's weird that would be listed as a thing because that's also something that can just be learned.
Not everybody can. I don't think everybody can.
I think everybody can. I think it can be learned.
But some people naturally possess the ability to use the alternative hand.
I mean, one hand naturally becomes a dominant hand, and we grow up using that as our dominant hand, especially once we start writing and it starts getting talked about and put into our mind that that's dominant. But I don't think that it's anything that could not be learned. Like, I think writing with your left hand could be learned, or doing anything left-handed. If you're playing baseball and you're gonna be a switch hitter, and like I think that you can learn it. I don't think that it's straight up just a genetic thing. Like
I don't know. I'm not positive, but I've seen a lot of people who cannot at all use their non-dominant hand at all, and I think it would be extremely challenging for some people that don't have a knack for that, a natural kind of ability to switch.
It might come easier to some, but I think it can definitely be learned.
I don't know. See, Kirby says her left hand's stupid. My mom's, she's left-handed, and her right hand, she cannot do shit with her right hand, and maybe if you practiced a lot, sure, but I think that the disposition is what they're more speaking about, that some people naturally have the ability, their brain can function equally with both hands. And like Princess said, I'm semi-ambidextrous too, where I use my left hand a lot more than a lot of right-handed people do. I've noticed that I have the ability to use it for more. I can write and like draw with my left hand. I can draw with both hands at the same time, which is interesting, but some people cannot do it. And I've done tests since I've been talking about it over time. I've been like, hey, draw with your left hand, draw with both hands, write your name, write something out or whatever. And it's really astounding to me at how many people just cannot do it. Now, when I was younger, I made a point to be like, I'm gonna work on it, but it was never bad. That's the thing. I recognized that I could do it, but it wasn't as good as with my right hand. But it wasn't like totally fucking dead, So I was like, oh, I should work with this a little bit. And when I was a kid, I would just kind of draw sometimes with my left, or I would write stuff out and just kind of practice a little bit. But I don't know. I don't feel like I ever really put a lot of effort into it. And I can paint with my left hand. I can do like shit that I surprise myself that I can do with my left hand. I'm like, damn, dude, that's awesome, But certain things I definitely gravitate more towards my right hand on certain things. So I don't know. I would say genetically we're kind of, our brains are wired to do a certain thing. Like my mom, like her being left-handed, nobody else was left-handed in the family, and she was, I think, if I recall correctly, they were trying to force her to be right-handed when she was younger, and she like couldn't do it. Like they tried. They were like, you need to use your right hand, and she was like, I fucking can't do it, So hey, Link, what's up, bud?
Hi, Link. Hello.
Hey.
And piano teaching ambidexterity, but I mean, really, a bunch of instruments are going to do that and like teach you how to use both of your hands. It's going to, at least maybe not ambidexterity, but it's going to make you dexterous. It's going to bump up your dexterity in both hands.
Interesting. God, that is fascinating. Link, when he uses his left hand to write, he writes backwards.
Oh, yeah.
And you can write perfect cursive backwards, but you can't go forward. That's fantastic. DG, oh, you're leaving us. I'm so sad you're leaving us.
Oh, okay. Bye, DG.
But
thanks for hanging out. It was so good to see you.
It was so nice to have you pop in. I have missed you. Please come around more often.
Yeah.
Please, please, please. I appreciate you. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, yes, don't be a stranger. Thank you for sharing your cool genetic anomalies with us.
Yeah.
We love you too.
Yeah, I love you too, buddy. Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yes.
We'll see you soon.
Come back soon, please. No, Link, it's fascinating. See, this is, I love this kind of shit. These conversations are great because the brain works in such unique ways. Like, why can he write backwards with the left hand? That does not make sense to me. That does not make sense why the brain would flip it and go backwards like that. That's so cool. That's such a really bizarre and unique thing. I've never heard of that. I've seen some people that some of their letters get messed up when they're trying to do it. They're trying really hard, but not completely backwards like that. That's so cool. Have you tried drawing with both hands at the same time? Have any of you guys tried drawing with both hands at the same time? What happens when you draw with both hands at the same time? Comes out like a fractal.
Yeah,
How
so
so?
they mirror each other.
Okay.
Yeah.
It will mirror. Wow, that's so cool. So try it. I mean, if any of you guys feel like trying it right now, you don't have to do anything. You know what to do. But if you feel like it, grab some paper and grab 2 pens or whatever, and try drawing at the same time. It's interesting. We did a double-handed drawing test, maybe like 10 years ago or so, and a giant piece of paper. And my friend Jean, we both had them set out, and we both tried drawing at the same time with both hands. And it was really interesting because we both did it decently, but we did it in different ways, which is a similar type of thing. That's like, how do our brains just automatically do this thing, and they're different sometimes. So with Jean, when she was drawing, the mushrooms or whatever, she was drawing at the same time. It was easier for her brain to move both hands the same at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Mine, I did mirror images of each other, and I don't know why that was my go-to, but my brain was able to do the same thing, but it was doing it in opposites, which, if you think about it, that sounds harder, actually. Like, I didn't think about it beforehand. What's the best way for me to do this? I just instinctively went for it.
Yeah.
But you'd think it would be easier to tell your brain to use the hand for the same exact things.
Yeah. I don't know. I think the mirror is easier.
You do. What makes you feel like the mirror is easier?
I don't know. It just makes more sense in my head. Like, almost like my hands are opposite. Like, they're flipped. Like, they should be mirroring each other. Yeah, Link, like conducting an orchestra. Like, they're different.
Yeah.
They go opposite. But yeah, whenever I remember that, and whenever Jean did them both at the same way, that was weird. I was thinking, that doesn't make sense.
I don't know. I feel like
Princess has the
logically.
she can write upside down and backwards with perfect print,
Wow.
which is super cool.
Wow. That's so cool.
Oh, it comes from being a teacher and doing it with small children, so they would see it forward normal print. Okay, that makes sense.
That's so interesting. Okay. That's a pretty cool
Good one.
random thing to be able to do. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
How many of you guys can write legibly with your non-dominant hand? Because some people, it's like so bad. It's like not even close. I mean, I know Link can do perfect mirror fucking cursive. It's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, my handwriting's terrible anyway, so my left hand is not really any worse than my right hand. If I'm doing print. It's a little...
If you're writing just regularly, it's about the same.
Yeah, it'd be about the same. Because it's not good anyway. Cursive would be way
Interesting.
different.
Mine would look like a 4-year-old.
Yeah, my regular handwriting looks like a 4-year-old, so it's
But you think you could do it with your left and have it be pretty similar?
about the same, yeah.
Cool.
It's roughly the same.
Okay, that's pretty
It's
cool.
a little bit larger.
That is not very common in all the tests that I've done with people over all these years, you know, and I'm sure there's been way bigger tests on that have been done than I've done myself. But it's such a cool topic and a cool test for people. I always love seeing how people's brains work, and it's pretty rare to have people to be able to write reasonably, you know.
Oh, Link's got good handwriting for a dude.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
oh,
no,
that's awesome.
Do not have good handwriting. Actually, I was always like told that my handwriting looked like a third grader, and then in high school one time I found papers from third grade and my handwriting was exactly the same. And I was like, oh, I do have handwriting like a third grader. It stays on the line a little bit better now, though, so that's good. But yeah, same.
Oh man. Yeah, I feel like I can slow down. If I slow down, I can write decently. I don't think my handwriting's great, but it's like it can be much more legible. But if I'm writing fast, like, I acknowledge that it's not so good.
Yeah.
And it's probably like that for a lot of people. But even like Tavia, like, she can't even write fast because she always writes very like properly. And I've got my like handwriting handwriting, and then I have like, okay, I'm gonna make sure that you're able to read it, but I don't think it's like good handwriting. It's not the worst I've ever seen though.
Yeah.
It's passable.
Oh yeah, princess, that's a thing. But yeah, thankfully we don't really need to write anymore. Nobody really needs to write anymore. That's going away.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
I am glad I know how to write in cursive though. I'm thankful that I learned that.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know why. It's just neat.
what?
I said I don't know why. I'm thankful that I learned it. It's just neat. Writing in cursive.
Oh yes.
It's just neat.
It is. It's
Even though I
beautiful.
always write in print anyway about it, like I can do cursive, but
Link wants to learn shorthand. My mom actually used to write in shorthand.
yeah.
Mom, if you're in the
that's a
chat.
weird one.
Talk about your shorthand.
I think she dipped out. I think she moved
really?
on. Yeah. She probably fell asleep and just went to bed.
Oh, she didn't even say bye or nothing. But either way, she did.
Yeah.
She was able to do that.
But yeah, that'd be a cool one. It's weird.
Yeah, it is. It's so cool. Okay, so let's see. So I'm wondering if we do a two-part thing. Since we're already at like 11, we still have some time, but maybe if we focus more on physical things and then we do more like inside of the mind things next time.
Mind things.
Because there's synesthesia that I really want to talk about.
Yeah, and there's
And there's-
multiples of those.
And there's similar ones that you want to cover.
Oh no,
so
your
maybe
mom
we
is
cover-
still here.
Oh, she
Weird,
is.
your
Yay!
name's not on my list. You're like incognito.
That's so weird.
Your name doesn't show.
But
Weird.
did you hear what I was talking about though? About shorthand? Did you know like the full shorthand, or is there like shorthand light? Like none of us know about that. I don't know about it. Maybe someone else does. I don't want to speak for anyone else.
Yeah,
but
I've never
can
even
you-
seen it. I've only heard about it, but I've never even seen
Can
it.
you give any insight on your shorthand knowledge? How you learned it? What is the deal? That would be very interesting.
Link, you've been trying to learn it from a book? Wow, that's a throwback. Books. Remember those? Those are weird.
But I should look online. I didn't even think about it.
Didn't even think about it.
Man, yeah.
What's the
Your favorite
Google?
letters out your Googles. So this, weirdly enough, looking like an alien fucking language.
What? Oh, there's one with the translation.
Oh, sweet. Okay, perfect. I have no idea how this makes any sense at all. Here's some shorthand.
Those are just squiggles. That's not shorthand.
What? How?
Yeah,
How is this?
I don't get it.
Memorandum? I mean, that's a random fucking word, and that it's a very, like, simple swoop. Okay, problem is there are so many shorthand versions. Ooh.
Yeah, I was gonna say that might be a thing where they're all different. Oh, okay. So like this little like swoop with the circle type of thing, which kind of evolves into one of these, can either be adding the ending like tick or tickle or tickly.
Tickly.
Tickly. Oh, I'm very tickly. Or like for ability, like ability. So there's these different things where it's almost like a circle with a swoop, and then like the circle. Yeah, or there's like the similarities.
But that's a very
So it's
specific-
like marks that represent portions of words or sounds instead of like a letter per swoop or something like that. Yeah, there you go. Your mom says each squiggle has a few letters in the meaning. It's a combination of sounds in each stroke. Yeah.
But okay.
Link says that several native languages were written in shorthand. Interesting.
But like mental, for example, these are really different. So how does that mean the same thing, and why would you need more than one way to explain it if it's mental?
I think those are all different
mental
versions of the same letter. Like everybody has different handwriting, because like it's like this swoop down and a dash. If you did that quickly, it could be this little swoop and a dash, or it could be this little swoop and a dash, or maybe you have a curly Q on it. I feel like these are different handwritings illustrating the same motion. But if it's shorthand, you're going fast, so it's like you learn your own version of that letter or that symbol, I guess, is what I'm thinking.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but that's what I'm thinking.
It's fucking weird, dude. Eclectic.
And then your mom said that there's strokes for commonly used words, like dear sir would have one.
Okay.
Okay.
So the words would go together, and that would just have one thing because you're commonly writing that out a bunch.
Yeah.
So how many people could read this? You doing this back in the day, Ma? Was it mainly for your own notes that you were taking for yourself? Like I would imagine, I'm just speculating here, stenographers or whatever, before they were using typewriters, would be writing it out because they're usually need to write as fast as people are talking. So is it more so for your own reference, or are you passing notes to people in this language?
So there's a good magazine. Looks like this. It's the combination of these strokes, which is interesting. It almost reminds me of like a squiggle version of kanji, like where their symbols kind of build on each other and make words.
Okay, well, anybody who's studied your kind of shorthand can read it, totally. But functionally, I'm kind of wondering, functionally in the workplace, when you were using it, were you passing like notes and different papers along to people in that, or did you kind of use that to translate it? And wondering, how did you learn it? Like how were you taught that specific thing? Was there like a night class that you did, or was it like from a book, or did you have a tutor? Like how would you learn that? It's very specific. It's a whole other language. It's fascinating. It's so cool that you know that. This is really, really neat.
Yeah. I just wonder if there was a...
It's just a foreign thing these days, you know. Stenographers, and then probably all the secretaries, all the men had secretaries to do the writing for them. Yeah, my mom was a secretary, so that's why she ended up being the one to do that. For sure. So anybody that is basically listening to people talk and trying to like quickly write. You were taught in high school as an elective for clerical studies. I used to do 120 words a minute.
Wow.
They taught that in high school.
You could write that. That's crazy.
So interesting.
I think I typed like 64 words a minute when I took a test, but that was typing.
Gosh,
so 100 and something, that's a lot.
I have no idea. Okay, Mom learned
you type
Greg
like
shorthand.
3 words a minute is where you're typing. And they're generally spelled wrong, so, which counts against you on those tests.
Well, I do my best.
You do.
I make it
great.
work.
Yep.
I'm not typing papers out. I'm not emailing people and shit like that. Whatever.
That's very true. I learned all mine in chat rooms and texting and stuff in the AOL days. That's where I learned to type.
Yep, never did. Never learned it. Never thought that it was going to be something that I would need very much. And guess what? It's fucking not. So it's fine. I'm good. I do not need it. I'm not typing out big things. If I decided I was going to go to school, that would be tough because writing out, if there was like long papers or you're writing a thesis or something like that, I'd be like, oh God, like it would be really hard. It would take forever.
Yeah.
But
that's true.
also, when I read in the pace in which I speak in my head because I'm narrating it to myself in my head. So some people are speed readers, it's like blah, 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 blah. Like, what? Hold the phones. Like, when I'm reading in the same cadence that I'm speaking right now.
Yeah.
So when I'm typing, it's okay for me to type slower. I don't need to be speed typing. It's ridiculous, you know? Like, if I type in the way in which, at least close to how I'm thinking of it, like, I feel like that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating. Speed readers is totally fascinating to me. Mom, you're a speed reader, right? I think my mom, yes, because there's been times where she's like, come on, turn the page already. And I'm like, I'm still reading. I'm
still
not
reading.
done yet.
Yeah.
But it's really a cool trait to be able to get that much information fast like that. I need to, like, it doesn't stick with me if it's going too fast. I need to process it as it's coming in, you know? Yeah, my mom's a fast reader. Yeah. Fast reader, fast writer. Psh. It's a fast lady. That's awesome.
I can read fast, but I don't remember any of it. I gotta go back and read that again.
That's what happens if I find myself reading too fast. I'm like, hold on. I don't know what. I know my eyes were moving. I don't know what the fuck I just read at all. So if I read it in my normal pace, then it makes sense in my brain. If I'm going too fast, it's just like overload. But my problem is when I write, my brain is going faster than I can physically write, and that's when my handwriting gets real fucking bad, is because I'm trying to keep with this normal pace that I have, and I can't physically write that fast. So that's where shorthand comes in handy, for sure. I imagine if you knew that, you can write things out as it's coming. It's probably much easier.
Oh, you were taught speed reading in elementary. I remember like all those speed reading.
It was
like,
a whole program.
Yeah, they didn't teach it to us in school, but I remember all the like, you could, call this 1-800 number, the as seen on TV, like cassette tapes to like learn speed reading, and they showed all the people just like me, like reading, and I was like, that's cool, but I don't. Yeah.
Mom, it's interesting that the classes were so different than they were when I was in school, and now I don't even know what the classes are. They're probably totally fucking different too. I imagine, but having speed reading to be taught to children, that's cool. Like, just get it done, get it over with. That's a cool skill to be taught when you're young, because then you can learn it easier, and it just becomes a part of how you do the thing.
I did always volunteer whenever, like, we'd have to read something out loud in class. I always volunteered to do it because I would rather have read it myself and knocked it out and moved us forward than let anyone else in the class read it and us just like slowly trudging along, because I felt like I just read it so slow and people were just like, but it was also the Texas public school system and most people were just illiterate. But I read a lot when I was younger, so I could read, and my vocabulary was strong enough to where I could actually move through a chapter. So anytime they were like, who wants to read? I'm like, please let me read. Like, let's just get this out of the way and like move it along. But
that is something that I do say I am glad that I can do, is I can read out loud well.
Yeah.
And I can read out loud in a normal tone that just sounds like I'm talking, but I'm actually reading. When some people, they are reading, and you can absolutely tell that they are reading. And I'm like, oh my God.
Sounding out words.
Yeah, like just make it normal, which I understand everybody's brains work differently in that kind of way. So the fact that I am, especially for this podcast, thank God I can read well, and just, read well in general, but like to read and speak it at the same time, because it would be a fucking bummer trying to read some of these articles and being like, you know, like that would suck.
Mm-hmm.
But I know it's not easy for everybody, for sure, to do that. So actually, okay, question for the chat. Can you guys read and speak it like well? Do you feel confident if you were going and you were reading a report in school or something like that, or reading an article, like if you were on this with us, like do you feel like you could properly read it without struggling through it? Which, no judgment if you do struggle through it.
And I know a
at all.
lot of the kids, like, it wasn't that they're, illiterate or whatever, but it was more nerves than anything. And, like, reading in front of a class was just, like, make them nervous. And it would stop them, and they'd get stuttery, and, so I understand that. Which is a whole different thing. But yeah, reading out loud was something that in school, like growing up, I always thought it was interesting who could and who couldn't.
Yeah.
And linked to social pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's cool that your teachers would have you kind of help explain things in ways that would make sense to people. That's really cool. And yeah, Mom saying how they would test your comprehension. That's good. So they made sure that you were actually taking in what you're reading. Oh, that's so interesting. I wonder how do you even teach that? What a strange skill.
Which is interesting because we actually were taught how to scan. It wasn't speed reading, it was scanning. And for like tests and stuff, so like the state tests that you'd have to take, and they'd be running you through how to take these tests, and a lot of them where you'd have to read like the block of whatever, and then whenever you got done you had to answer the questions about what you just read. Instead of having us read the whole block and like sit there and spend the time reading the thing, they taught us how to scan through. They taught us a highlighter technique where you'd go and you'd highlight specific things that you needed out of it, which were like key points, and they taught you how to pick the key points out of these couple paragraphs so that whenever you got to the questions, you knew the gist of what this paragraph was talking about.
I do that a lot.
Yeah.
That I wish I actually learned how to do that. That would be awesome. I bet I would be even better at it if I was taught that method. That's really neat. But I just naturally, like, especially like on the show, for example, like going through and reading stuff, like I'm scanning to try to find the meat and potatoes of what it is that I need, and I'm pretty good at being able to scan through, but I'm not like reading every fucking word.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't pass the comprehension test on that because I'm not actually looking at every letter. I'm just kind of like trying to pick things out. That's cool that they taught you that.
Yeah. Yeah, it was, I mean, a lot of our schooling was dedicated to how to test, basically. Like, it was just, the curriculum was just based around getting us to pass these tests so that we could move forward, and so that the grades looked good on the state. Like, it wasn't teaching us anything that we actually needed. Essentially it taught me how to cram for a test, and how to pass a test is all I learned how to do, and I got really good at it. Like, I've told you before, like, I never studied anything. I'm not a studier. I never took anything home and like really worked on anything. It was, I would cram right before the test, and I would regurgitate it, and I'd get an A, and I'd move along. Do I remember any of it? No. But I could pass a test like you not believe. But
Interesting.
That's why I always say, like, school just kind of taught me how to bullshit really well. And,
Yeah.
And I still use that skill to these days.
Hey.
But,
Yeah, well, it works.
yeah, it totally does.
You were able to make it work for you. That's good.
Yeah. I
It
figured
sucks
out the
that they're
system.
trying to make
anyway.
people do things just to pass rather than actually learn. That's like,
Yeah,
fucking
it was
bummer,
all
dude.
just to benefit the state. It wasn't for the kids at all.
yeah, and Princess, you were a teacher as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'm sure you learned a lot about that. Interesting change up of career, though. Then you went into training and development on Wall Street.
Yeah.
That's a very big switch.
That's a big switch.
Wow.
This is true.
But hey, sometimes you gotta switch it up. You gotta mix it up.
It's true. Very true.
That's super cool. Wow, how neat. Yeah, and some of the little things that we learn and the way our brains work as far as the way we're trained, some of this is genetic stuff, some of it is just weird personal quirks that we have, and then some of this is things that we're taught. And if you're taught at a young age some of these things, you'll never lose it.
Actually, now that we're talking about it, I think that may have been one reason why I was always so terrible at math, was because there's no way to really cram for math. Like, you can't cram for a math test, you have to know it. And I wasn't good at knowing all the information, I was good at regurgitating what I had just figured out, you know? And, like, over time, like, the stuff stuck, you know, so I, did end up learning the stuff. But that's why English was always easier for me, or, like, social studies and, like, stuff like that. But math, those formulas don't work when it comes to math. That makes a lot of sense, actually, now that we're talking about that. I never really thought about it.
That makes sense. Yeah, because you weren't trained to actually learn it. You were trained to just suck it in long enough and spit it out.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Because you have to learn the formulas. You have to understand how it works. You can't fake it. You can't fake it to make it, which is why I don't like math. It's too fucking specific.
Yeah.
It's too specific. There's no, like, abstract, well, if you think about it this way, or if you change this around, then it can be like this. There's a lot of different ways to do it. No. I mean, there's different formulas to get to the same conclusion, sure. But if you don't know any of the formulas, then it's not going to be right, and it's just it's an F. And I'm way too right-brained for that, for me to be proficient at that. Because I very much like more abstract ways of getting from, A to Z. I'm standing at A. Tell me what Z is, and let me figure out logically how I think the best path for me to get there is. And with math, it's like, we don't give a shit what you think. There's no logic in it. It's the logic that we tell you, and it's exactly this very specific path. If you don't do that, you're fucked.
Yeah.
Which is why computers freak me out, because there's a very specific things you have to do to get certain things to be done. And if you don't know how to do that thing, it's broken forever. I mean, of course,
plugging in this camera and getting the camera to actually be seen by the computer. There's a very specific way of doing that.
I know. Sorry that our camera right now is so shitty that we're using the laptop camera, because I don't know why the camera
It just
shut
turned off again. It did the thing.
But at least we have this as a backup. But sorry, we don't look very fancy right now.
The princess said, loved special ed but hated the system that surrounded the workings of it. Yeah, I could see that. The school system, like, I could see working in the school system being extremely aggravating.
Yeah. And especially with special ed, that would be
I bet.
a whole different thing to have to deal with.
But at least it's not like in Florida where you have to teach the benefits of slavery. No. At least he didn't have to do that. That's a thing.
That's a new thing.
Yeah. That's fun. Hey. But think about all the good things slavery did. It's not how that works, people.
I told Roxy about that today, and her eye, you know how big her eyeballs are? They almost popped out of her fucking head.
I bet they did.
Dude.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, that's craziness. Weird world. And that's just another sign, too, that perception of how people perceive the world and what people think is morally right. It's just going through everybody's filter. And everybody sees the world so differently. And it's hard to have anybody see it from your perspective when people are on the other team,
Full indigo. What? Yeah, no, that's a thing. Look that up.
My friend Shannon has to go back to work a week early. She is a Montessori teacher. They're forcing her to go back early because she has to go learn the curriculum. Even though she's Montessori, they don't really teach that kind of stuff. And she does younger kids normally, but she's going to be having third graders this year. And if it's third grade or over, I think, then you have to be familiar with the new curriculum on how we don't say that white people did all these terrible things, and how, hey, it was kind of beneficial for the slaves too. It's totally not so bad.
Yep.
So Florida fucking sucks.
Yeah, for more and more reasons every day.
Yep. They're really coming up on Texas, and Texas sucks real bad.
I know, right?
So, like, they're really giving it a run for its money as far as that goes.
Definitely. Actually, me and Slim Tony were talking about that earlier, because he lives in Texas. He's one of my old friends from school, and we were talking about how bad Florida's getting, and we said that basically Texas has just kind of always been terrible, but it's always just kind of been like a baseline terrible. It's always been there. And Florida just seems to keep like getting lower and lower and lower. Like it's just
Yeah.
like getting worse and worse and worse.
How
like,
much worse can we
it's-
get?
Yeah.
And it just keeps getting worse.
Yeah, it's like you're really trying to one up Texas, and you're doing it, but
Oh,
it's
Florida's
weird.
getting really bad because when I lived out there, it was not like that.
Yeah.
It was not. It was not like that
No.
at all, and it's gotten way worse since I left, and it's crazy. I'm so glad I didn't have to live there at a time when it was this horrible. I'm sure my parents would have moved us out of there if it was that fucking bad. Stressed
Probably,
me
yeah.
out.
Oh yeah, Princess, that's shady.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
you know, it's a messed up system that we're in for sure.
Oh, good night, Mom.
Oh.
I love you. Sweet
night, Mindy.
dreams. I'm glad you were here and hanging out with us for this one.
Yeah.
And thank you for giving us your valuable insight on the things that you have learned. We really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And you have some good dreams. Sweet dreams to you.
Totally. Yeah, so we should probably
Yeah.
wander along too.
Yeah.
It's getting
Yeah, I think
we're
we'll...
kind of at the end of our
We'll pull it for tonight. But Monday, Justin's going to be here, which is going to be great. So I'll have Justin in on the stream.
yeah.
And that'll be really fun. And then Wednesday, we're going to pick back up where we left off with We're Also Different Part 2.
Yeah.
And then we're going to start talking about,
We'll go internal.
yes, internal and the perceptions and how we all perceive things differently. That's going to be really, really, really cool.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that very much. So I hope you guys pop up and hang out with us.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like perceptions
Yes.
for sure. Yeah.
Yep, synesthesia, different things of that nature, fantasia, aphantasia.
Prophantasia, which I just learned about. A weird one. That's a weird one.
Oh man, I love it. And then inner dialogue versus like how people perceive things. Like how do people process their information, and it's so uniquely different. So I'm really excited to talk about that in more detail on Wednesday. That's going to be really cool. So everybody, please come hang out with us. Be here as early as you can so you catch the whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for resubbing with us, Link.
Oh,
We love
sweet.
you.
Thanks for that
Thank
resub.
you. Good. We earned your love today. Yay.
Yeah.
That's great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you, everybody, for your insight tonight. I'm really glad that this was a group discussion and that you guys shared some of the weird anomalous stuff that
Yeah.
you guys have. Like,
We
it's
learned
really,
so much
really
about
cool.
our chat tonight.
Yeah.
A lot
It's
of
really
things.
neat, and this is what it's all about. I love talking to people and finding out how everybody, like, what's everybody got going on, how do you see stuff, how do you do stuff, and it's really cool. It makes us all really special. It's neat. So thank you for being here. Yay, you got the emotes now. Woo!
Sweet.
Sweet. Okay, love it.
Okay.
All right, well, what should we do? Should we just end transmission since we have a small little group in here right now?
We can do that.
We'll do that. Skip a raid tonight.
We're skipping the raid.
We'll skip a raid. There's such little people. We got it. But everybody, good night to all of you. Thank you, friends, again. And we will see you on Monday with a special guest,
Yeah.
Justin from Risky Biscuit Band. It's going to be great.
Yeah. Oh, you too, princess.
You too, princess, my sweet friend. Sweet dreams to everyone.
Yeah.
Okay, Link, I'm glad you subbed with us, and we'll friggin' see you back on Monday.
Yeah, we will.
All right, bye everybody.
Bye, everyone.